Tervetuloa and welcome down here to the Kerava National Cricket Stadium in Kerava, just outside of Vantaa, north of Helsinki, in the beautiful country of Finland. But this is the Nordic T20. We already had two games this morning. Denmark, the victors over Norway. Sweden, the victors over Finland. This is game 3 of the tournament, where Norway have won the toss and decided to bowl first in this afternoon's fixture. The openers for Finland just coming out to bat. I'm not alone though in the comm box today. Richard is joining me. G'day Richard.
Good afternoon Jez, good afternoon everybody listening on what is so far a dry afternoon here in Kerava. Cloudy, slightly overcast conditions, but there is a glimpse of sun. So we keep our fingers crossed that stays with us for the rest of the afternoon for this Norway-Finland clash. As Jez said, that Finland have been put into bat by the Norwegians, who lost their first match, as he was also saying earlier on today, to Denmark by 6 wickets here at the Kerava National Cricket Ground. And Finland's opening game against Sweden over in Tikkurila in Vantaa, they lost that game to Sweden by 70 odd runs.
Yes, the expectation for this afternoon's match between Finland and Norway is that it should be a close game. You would give the edge to Norway, I think, just with a little bit more experience under their belt than the Finnish side. But that's not to say that upsets don't happen, and I expect a few in this particular tournament.
We'll balance it out with a bit of home advantage, perhaps, as well. And it could be more even than perhaps anticipated. Finland, the only one of the 5 sides without that international status, as it were. But that's more to do with experience and the relative youth of the women's setup here in Finland.
Yes, it's all a matter of time, and I imagine it won't be too far away at all. In fact, I imagine by the time we come to play this tournament again next year that Finland will have full international status and be more comfortable at this level.
Yeah, it's chicken and egg, isn't it? You need experience to get comfortable and to warrant that status, but you don't get it by not playing. So this is a fantastic opportunity for them and for all the teams involved. It's wonderful that we can get 5 teams over here in Finland as we prepare to get underway. Opening batsman just taking their mark.
Yes, Safi for Norway is going to charge in here from the village end. She bowled reasonably well in the first game. Leaked a few wides. We had to talk about that actually in the break, just about running in a little harder and choosing your mark on the pitch and where you want to target. So it'll be really interesting to see how she goes as we open up this first innings. Finland taking strike, Norway running in. That one got stuck in the hand a little bit, and she's been no-balled by the umpire. An inauspicious start, not just for her, but for my coaching suggestions during the break. Maybe that shouldn't get back to the coach.
Well, as somebody who's been involved with coaching some of the women in this setup, I'm intrigued to hear, Jez, and we'll take all suggestions on board, of course.
I don't know, that second ball looked a lot better, didn't it? Oh, there's a really big mix-up. And I'd say that she's been run out down there at the keeper's end. Horrible mix-up between the batters, and the non-striker will be run out without facing a ball.
That's cruel.
It is cruel, but, you know, the calling, it went straight to the fielder. It was a good pickup, it was a good throw, and it might have been her call. She was charging towards the danger end, but if you're going to do that, you've got to back yourself the whole way, and you've got to charge in. So it's not one where she can blame her partner.
No, calling's just so important at any level of the game, isn't it? And when you are learning the game, as it were, those little basic elements, you know, make a huge difference, and that's just been proved quite dramatically there for Finland. Big mix-up. I think the joy of getting bat on ball perhaps perhaps led to a little bit of overexcitement. But the one thing that might do is calm them down a little bit and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Safi now. Hard into the deck, down the leg side, and that's a wide.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the threshold there is, because bouncing twice is a no ball, isn't it? I guess it's got to bounce twice before the batsman or before it passes their crease.
It's another wide down the leg side. Bit of length though, so it's just a case of tidying up that line.
A bit of length and a surprising amount of bounce, actually, from not a huge amount of pace.
She gets right in behind the ball. That's one thing that can be said about her bowling style, and I was looking at this earlier. I think she's probably got another 10 Ks in her if she works at a game. Again, forced hard into the deck and knocked into the onside where there's another shy at the stumps. The Norwegians are keen on another run out, no doubt about that. A good hard throw at the bowler's end. Some words being exchanged between fielders who had to back that one up.
Including one who just took one in the face, it looked like. I thought for a moment she'd need a little bit of attention as the ball bounced up dangerously towards her face.
Again, hard into the deck. This one worked around the corner, taken in the shin, thrown back. Another good hard throw back to the keeper at the striker's end, and some very assured calling between the batters.
Some very negative calling there, I think. Interesting position there, that short backward square leg, and the line she's bowling. It's almost a plan.
That one's sat up outside off stump and tapped away to point, where it's easily collected and comes back to the keeper. I was going to say the end of the over, but we must have a couple left. There's been a no ball and 2 wides, as well as that wicket. It's been very eventful to start this innings. Again, banged hard into the deck and tapped into the leg side. No run.
Some interesting field placements. I mentioned that short backward square leg, who has fielded the ball a couple of times to shorter deliveries that the batter has tried to sort of pull around the corner. We've got a very, very, very straight mid-off, probably exaggerated by the angle we're at, but they're very straight, number 12.
Slow ball. Mixing it up, struck on the pad. The umpire simply walks away. That's always a good strategy from the umpire. Why engage with the bowler on any level when they make an appeal like that? Just walk away. That's the end of the first over. 3 for 1. Nice to see a change up from the bowler there, rolling her fingers over the ball.
Well, that over improved markedly, didn't it? I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of first ball nerves, perhaps, and just trying to get into that rhythm. Struggled for the first couple of deliveries or so, but once she got it online, she was getting, as I mentioned a moment or two ago, just a little bit of extra bounce, perhaps a bit of top spin on the ball, because it's quite an army action.
Yeah, might have been a bit of stiffness too. This is her second game of the day. It's always that funny thing where you warm up and warm down in between. It can take a couple of balls to get back into your action. This is Argowell. She bowled really well in the first game. Again, really, really good length. She was the absolute standout from both sides this morning in terms of her control of line and length and the way she used the ball in the crease.
It's nice to see a bit of left arm as well. Left arm spin.
Yeah, she's a real threat. Here she comes now. Tossing it right up under the bat. That's never getting given in 100 years. If anything, the batsmen there scuffing the turf with their bat.
Yeah, this is one thing that to try to work on, you know, when the ball is coming down quite slowly like this.
Right off the toe. And that's what saved her. The fact that it came right off the toe of the bat, had no power behind the ball whatsoever, is how it managed to dip and land into no man's land. The batter stays at the crease, a sigh of relief.
It's picking up that length and trying to deal with that length, and often you find that, as we'll come back to that in a second,
High on the bat, so again, not much power in the shot, but they get through for a single.
you often find that there's a lot of waiting for the ball to arrive, which can put you in more than two minds sometimes, and you like to see perhaps a little bit more foot movement, just getting to the pitch of the ball, or going to meet it on the full toss even if it's a particularly full delivery, just to sort of put your stamp on the bowler as well, send a little psychological message.
Yes, one of the things that Agrawal has done here is bowl a really tidy length, that in-betweeny length where the batsmen don't know whether or not to come forward or back. Well defended.
Very watchful, but quite rightly at the moment, I think, just taken over to settle down after that early run out.
Yes, the end of the second over, 4-1 Finland. Good energy in the field from Norway, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, in international matches, we don't see too many women's international matches here in Finland. That's why we're so excited to have this Nordic Cup this weekend. But you know, you get used to looking, don't you, in the power plays for the fielders out and where they are, but there are none, as far as I can make out. Everybody's in the ring.
Yes, Norway used the same tactic in the first game against Denmark as well, deciding not to have any players outside of the ring during the power play. And Suffy's cleaned her up. I'm not sure what she's appealing for.
Oh.
I don't think she realised she bowled her. Well, the stumps, I don't know if they changed the stumps between the first game and the second, but these ones certainly light up. Lit up like a Christmas tree. She cleaned those stumps up, no problem at all.
Well, you said you wondered what she was appealing for, but strictly speaking, you should still even appeal for bowled, shouldn't you, to the umpire before he can give it out, which no cricketer in the world ever does. So that's probably the politest appeal I've ever seen. Well done. But yeah, 2 wickets down. Again, it's that teasing length, isn't it? Just and you're finding that the bat's perhaps going over the top of the ball a little bit, misjudging it rather than getting towards it. But again, as soon as that ball, and she's tossing it up fairly high, as soon as that ball sort of goes above eye level, it can cause problems in the batsman's mind.
Yeah, she is mixing her pace up. She's jamming them into the deck, and then she's bowling the odd off cutter. That one into the deck.
Didn't miss by much, I don't think. No, it didn't look like it.
No, I think she picked up a caught behind in very similar fashion in the first game, just off the top edge and through to the keeper. Jammed into the deck, but well wide of off, and that's another run to the total.
Yeah, I didn't see the earlier matches today, but did the field go out at any stage?
Yes, there was a couple of occasions where they moved a couple of fielders out, but it wasn't until later in the innings they really kept the pressure on. And that's off the top edge, flying away over the top of square leg. It's going to pitch, bounce, and the batsman will come back for 2. Good running between the wicket from these two. Good set of wheels from both of them.
I think, you know, it's a good tactic. You're saying to the fielding team, okay, you've got to hit over us, but also, you know, we've had quite a bit of rain lately. It's late August. The outfield's very lush, so it's going to take a lot to reach the boundary along the floor.
Just away outside off there. One of the things that was really noticeable in the first game was that, to start with, that lushness, that moisture in the outfield did stop the ball from reaching the rope. But by the time the second innings came around, if you hit it flush, it was going the whole way. Lots of air on that delivery and tap back to the bowler.
Yeah, the boundaries are significantly shorter than for many matches.
You say that, but I wouldn't clear it.
Not so sure I would these days.
Jammed into the deck, pulled hard to square leg. Who does well, taking it in the hip, preventing any run. Good support from her team, and that is the end of the third over. Finland 7 for 2.
That was a nice shot, nice pull shot. Again, just picking the length and making sure that you can find a shot for that particular ball. It was struck pretty hard. The field, it went straight to the fielder, unfortunately, or else that might have been one of those that could have threatened the boundary rope on the far side, though, going up the hill, which tends to slow things down away to the right as the camera looks at this. But are we going to continue? We are with Agrawal.
Yes, she bowled through in the first match of the day, and I imagine it'll be much the same here. Really, really tight, putting pressure on the batsman. Again, that length, asking questions. Do you know much about these two Finnish batsmen?
I've seen them a little bit, yeah. Sheridan, I've seen a little bit of her, and she's a very useful cricketer.
Struck strongly over the top of the offside. She got right behind that one, running out towards the boundary, charging between the wickets, and they're going to come back for 2.
Yeah, she's done well with that shot and hail there, because you can tell she likes to get on the front foot quite early. That was nicely in the slot, and she followed through with a little bit more intent on that one. She's picked up a couple of runs.
Little squirter, might have even nutmegged herself there as it trickles away to square leg.
But again, you could see that initial movement to get onto the front foot, but that was a fuller ball, and she just a little bit of doubt in her mind perhaps on that occasion.
Again, striking this into the offside, but straight to the fielder.
Yeah, it's a nice shot, but they're not having much luck finding the gaps at the moment, Finland.
Full toss this time and struck through point. It's going up the hill, so I doubt it's going to go all the way to the rope, but it looks like they're going to come back for another deuce. Good bit of fielding, gets the ball back in a hurry. And again, just the 2.
So that, again, that's where she's just slightly over-pitched on that occasion, and she could get her arms free, foot forward, and push through the ball for runs.
This one's harder and flatter, a response to that last shot. And that's the end of the over from Agrawal.
A much better over for Finland there. A little bit more intent and a little bit more busyness between the wickets, and looking to go searching for the ball on a length.
Yes, as I mentioned before, these two quite quick between the wickets. Obviously both quite fit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it, isn't it? I mean, I know Sheridan, for example, is pretty nippy. She comes steaming in when she's bowling. That much I've seen.
Really? I thought she was keeping today.
Oh, was she? Well, I have seen. Well, I haven't seen the match earlier, but I have seen her bowl.
This one's jammed into the deck, and that will, or should be a no ball. It is.
It's a really busy, bustly run-up when I've seen it, but obviously it doesn't look like that's going to be on show today.
Sounds like she's a very capable cricketer.
Yeah, very enthusiastic as well. She's half the battle.
Oh, that'll be a no ball. We had a scenario earlier today where one of the Danish bowlers was taken out of the attack for 2 beamers. So on this occasion, this will be a no ball, and this will be a free hit.
Interesting. So they were beamers and not just overhead height balls.
Well, it's all at the discretion of the umpire, isn't it?
A beamer, I suppose, has an element of danger to it. But then I'm not an umpire.
Jammed into the deck and struck strongly through the leg side. It's just running to the outside of the ring, and they've settled on the single. No point taking the extra risk.
Yeah, so I guess there has to be an element of danger in it, because you wouldn't automatically get taken out of the game for 2 overhead height no balls, would you? I guess.
Well, again, it's the discretion of the umpires.
Interesting.
Oh, that's an interesting leave. I think she thought maybe that was going to be another big full toss, and it absolutely dropped out of the air and nearly into her off stump.
I thought we were going to have another example of the umpire's discretionary powers coming into operation there.
It's one of those funny things that some players don't understand, which is that if you're bowled off a full toss, there's no way that it could have been above waist high, technically. That's the thinking anyway. Popped into the leg side, fielders converge, and a missed opportunity for Norway. That was one that potentially should have been taken.
Crying out for a dive, wasn't it?
I just think with the 3 fielders all running into the same ball that maybe it just needed one of them to put the hammer down and just say mine.
I think that's one of the drawbacks of having such a tightly packed inner field.
She's got that right out of the meat of the bat, running up the hill towards the forest, and that'll definitely be 4. First boundary of the afternoon for Finland. A strong pull shot through mid-wicket from Sheridan.
Well, that was a terrific shot. That was a real bottom-handed pull, wasn't it? Bottom hand taking over to keep the ball down, but adding a bit of extra power to it. That was a terrific shot.
And the thing about it is the sound, isn't it? You just know it came out of the middle of the bat. Certainly travelled a good distance.
A couple more of those, and what I was going to say, we might see a fielder going out, but we're seeing one go out already. After that, not quite onto the boundary edge.
No, 2/3. Jammed into the deck and smacked straight out to that fielder, which means on this occasion they'll keep it to 1.
They do, and it was again straight to the fielder, as you say. But I'm happy to see that they recognised that the fielder had gone out and that there was an easy 1 to them. So picking up on that immediately. So good, quick thinking.
This time tucked away behind square, running down towards the fine leg boundary, just off the bottom of the bat instead of the middle though. So once again, 2 runs. Good running between the wickets, no pressure at all. And that's the end of Suffy's over, and I imagine she's going to have a little rest now.
Oh, very fruitful over. It went for 11.
Yes, Finland now 22 for 2 after 5.
But yeah, just drop it. I think her line was pretty consistent in that over, and I think Finland have latched onto that and perhaps had a little word to each other and said, okay, if he's dropping short, the ball is getting up nicely above sort of knee height, hip height, and it's ripe for the pull shot, or even on one occasion the cut shot there. But they're starting to find the middle a little bit more, Finland.
It's one of the things about these 2 batters, they're not the tallest, and I think maybe Safi hasn't quite got the length right. It needs to be a little bit fuller to the shorter batters, because otherwise they're able to just squat down, stay low, and pull through the leg side as they have done. Full toss outside off stump and fetched down towards cow corner, running down the hill down there. In fact, it's gone the whole way. That's the advantage, heading down to that part of the ground. Sheridan off to the races.
That was a great shot. Another one. It was in the air, but it was perfectly safe. I think just your point there, Jez, about the batters being shortish. Another thing that I think takes them by surprise is playing on a wicket like this that does generate quite a bit of bounce, and it's something they're not necessarily used to. They're used to playing on decks that keep low a lot of the time.
That's a good length ball. Great response from Agrawal.
Yeah, good comeback. But I think that does take a little bit of getting used to. Some of the practice pitches they'll play on, or indoors, or a coconut mat or something, the ball tends to keep an awful lot lower, and it takes a little bit of a while to get used to the ball coming onto you, especially down the hill here.
Big swing and a miss outside off stump. You can see the batter there having a word with herself.
Yeah, she's the back foot player of the pair for sure. But she needs to be using that front foot a little bit more to Agarwal with her nagging length.
Just tapped back to the bowler and she's thrown it away. That's a great piece of bowling, quite frankly, to suck the batsman in. You know, you can see what she wanted to do. You can see where she wanted the ball. And she's just put it in a difficult area, asked the hard questions, and the batsman has obliged, just tapping it back to the bowler for a nice, neat caught and bowled.
Yeah, it was just getting onto that front foot, as I said, but the bat wasn't really coming down as straight as you'd expect. It was a bit of a half-cocked bat movement, not quite across the line and not quite through the line, and it's sort of that little bit of extra bounce we're mentioning there. Just perhaps popped the ball up high on the bat to her, and that's what gave her the caught and bowled opportunity. But it was a nice little innings by Sheridan there, going for 11. Couple of boundaries in that 11 as well.
Yes, it's fortunate that this is a tournament that lasts the next 3 days, because I look forward to seeing her bat again. She certainly middled a couple there, and one wonders if she stayed at the crease for, 5 to 10 overs, just how much damage she could do.
Well, this is it, first day. There's 2 more days of this. Again, confidence plays a huge part. Once you realise, well, I can do this, and it can free you up a little bit, and I think and I hope that's what will happen to a lot of these players for Finland this weekend.
Very full outside the off stump, tap back to the bowler. Are you familiar with the Fairbright T20 competition?
I can't say I am.
Really good international women's competition comprising players from all around the world, from all sorts of nations. I'm not sure if any of the players from these squads have had any involvement, but there's certainly a few players already that I would put a ring around to join that competition and be involved. Agrawal is definitely one. The way she's been bowling, she would challenge batters who are capable at an even higher level.
Well, you can tell she's got a nice action, very repeatable action. She doesn't look like she's struggling to get the ball down there. She clearly looks like she thinks a lot about the delivery she's sending down, dragging her length back when needed or pushing it fuller when required. So, yeah, that's quite an impressive opening couple of overs from her.
This is another bowler you'll probably be impressed by. A little bit of pace from Garmagay. She is replacing Safi from the Village End. She's got a little bit of toe. When she gets it right, you'll see that carry through to the keeper.
He's standing back a little way.
Yeah, right arm seamers from Garmagay. She's just changing her field. Still no one outside the ring on the offside. One too many on the leg side, and they have realised. So everyone rotating round now.
Yeah, which means they've brought that one player that was outside the ring on the leg side back in. Oh, yeah.
So that's a wide one from Garmagay, but you can see what I mean.
Yep.
She's got a little bit of pace about her.
Yeah, very nice. I did fly through. It was wide, but strong wrist it looked like that at first, on first impressions. Quite high action, it seems.
She holds that one back just a little bit more.
Yeah, very good start.
Possibly just holding that one back to find her line. Let's see if she tries to really push one through again. No ball, struck straight down the ground. Ball running away down to long on. The field is not going to pull that one in, and that is 4 runs.
Yeah, 4 runs from Divija, who's a terrific player. She's played in some of the men's competitions here in Finland. It's a very, very good all-round cricketer. She's starting to find a little bit of rhythm now. So a free hit for her as well. So let's see what happens.
Not quite sure what all that chatter was. I think it's the captain rearranging the field. I don't know if they can change the field.
Once she was running in.
Yeah, the field shouldn't be changing. It's the same batter on strike, but never mind. So she's thrown the kitchen sink at that. Top edge back over point. And they're going to run through for a single. It's good to see that, actually. We had some free hits in the first game, and I can't say that the batters really loaded up to try and smack it out of the park. I think the the mentality was still to preserve their wicket when what they really needed to do was swing for the hills. So it's good to see Unhale have a good hit there. Oh, she's taken the pace off that one, but worked around the corner, down behind square. Running away down there. Big chase from the field. They have hauled it in, and they will get back for, is it 3? Do they run
just
3?
Just the 2. But a nice shot. I'm surprised that didn't reach the boundary, actually. It seemed to have come off the bat at a fair old rate.
No, it was a good chase from the field.
But interesting on the point about the no ball, often you do see batters just completely lose their shape going for a shot. So by this, the other token, it was quite nice to see her try and play a controlled shot.
This one down the leg side and wide.
So 35 for 3 after 7, 5 and over. It seems that it feels like they've been going a little bit slower, but actually that's not a bad rate really, considering they've lost 3 wickets. One in the first over to a calamitous run out.
Gamagay wided once again. It's interesting, she's only really had the handbrake off for that one delivery, that first ball that went flying away outside off for a wide. And ever since, she seems to be trying to reel herself in to find some accuracy. I think if you're going to bowl wides anyway, heat it up. Run in hard, bowl as fast as you can.
I agree.
That's a no ball. Overstepping.
I agree with you. Sometimes when you're having this problem, it plays on your mind, so you tend to rein yourself in. Then you don't commit to your action, you don't commit to your run-up, and then it all goes even more wrong. So I think on those occasions, sometimes you've just got to steam in and go for it. And you know, if it's wide, you know, you never know.
They might have a fish at it. It's another free hit anyway. She gave that one a little bit more welly, but they're going to come through for a single. Good result for Norway.
I would like to have seen her get back to the stumps, though, after that, bowling that delivery. Because there might have been a chance. But yeah, I'd like to see that after that first one, which flew through. You just want to see her produce that again.
Slower ball again. Struck firmly, but there's a fielder back down behind square, and they will get just the single.
Yeah, there was a bit of lick on that first delivery, and like you say, being called for all the wides, it eats into your confidence, so you start trying to think, well, why is this happening? Let's go back to basics. Then you forget to do those basics by thinking about them too much.
It's going to be another wide down the leg side. So perhaps her confidence has been affected here, which is a shame, because you just want to see her charge in, hit the deck hard. Struck on the pad, rolls away into the leg side. An appeal, but not given. And that will bring the end of what was quite a long over in the end. 12 balls, I think.
Yeah, and it's gone for 15.
I'm trying to count up those deliveries. Maybe it was an 11 ball over. It was a long one anyway. She'll be tired.
Yeah, I mean, that's That's almost 2 overs in one, isn't it? But for Finland, though, that's advanced them nicely. 41 for 3 after 7.
Yes, in the first game, Denmark had some problems with the radar, and it came back to bite them at the end of the innings because all those extra deliveries ate up a heck of a lot of time. So they got penalised for overrate.
Hence the... okay. Well, I guess, yeah, there is that. You don't tend to think too much about that, but Agarwal's continuing. As you said, Jez, earlier, she bowled out in the first match, and she's going to do the same here.
Yeah, I think the strategy here with her is to put the opposition on the back foot, to eat up a lot of deliveries really quickly, to tie them down, not go for too many runs, pick up a couple of wickets if you can. It's a good strategy. She's just so tight.
Yeah. She's got a sort of very fine leg here on the boundary, which is interesting because we've yet to see a sweep go behind square, so I'm intrigued as to why she'd want one there and not perhaps a lot squarer where we have seen a couple of pull shots.
Tell you what, these last couple of deliveries are reminiscent of Test cricket, aren't they? A bit of one-on-one, bowler and batter, head-to-head, testing, stretching, posing the question.
Well, somebody's just finished reading Shane Warne's autobiography, the late great Shane Warne's autobiography, and how much he talks about that psychological aspect of the game as a spinner, trying to impose yourself on the opponents no matter what you're doing with the ball itself. She looks to have one of those sort of presences, doesn't she?
This one a little bit fuller, going searching perhaps the bowler there, and struck well over the offside and away to the boundary for 4. That is a lovely shot from Unhale.
It is a lovely shot, but I can't help thinking they're wasting a fielder here with fine leg. I mean, the batters are trying to get onto the front foot to her, as exemplified by that shot, and you know, perhaps a catcher in the covers there rather than, or even a cover sweeper.
Yeah, perhaps they're leaving it open on purpose, trying to turn the ball away from the bat, but if that were the case, maybe bring a slip in. Who knows? This is going to be the last ball of her spell. It's another really good one from her. 1 for 14 so far. Yeah, right on the dot and tapped into the offside. So the end of a really good spell of bowling once again from Agarwal. She finishes with 1 for 14 from her 4 overs. And at the end of 8, Finland 46 for 3.
Yeah, you called it, Jez. Agarwal, very impressive indeed. She just tied down that end. And, you know, she's bowling some good deliveries. I mean, I don't think she was called for any wides, was she?
No, she's been very accurate.
And that's just part of it, because she's obviously got good control of her length and the speed at which she bowls, the pace, and she's caused trouble, but very impressive indeed. But Norway, it's you know, one of those difficult things, isn't it? You've got such a good bowler as her. You want to bowl them out up top or leave them for the end of the innings when the batsmen or the batters tend to open up a little bit more. But she's done a job. 1 for 14.
This is another bowler who's very accurate, wicket to wicket, Puya Kumari. Doesn't put too much on the ball in terms of revolutions, bowls a few doorknobs, but very, very accurate wicket to wicket. Well, one of the shortest run-ups you'll see in this competition.
Well, I do know a lot about Puya, having been on a England and Wales Cricket Board coaching course with her in Oslo a year or 2 ago. So I'm looking forward to seeing how she goes today. I haven't yet had a chance to say hello, but she's very, very active in Norwegian cricket and a very accomplished coach. She's done an awful lot to advance the game in Norway. In fact, one of the young lads that she coached in Norway a few years ago.
Struck well into the leg side, but straight to the fielder. They've gotten the deep out there at mid-wicket, so just the single, bowling to a field, good stuff.
I'm delighted to say that that lad is now part of the club that I coach at now, and a very promising player he is as well, but all thanks to her. But a nagging length, isn't it? You know, this is the thing that it's putting the initiative on the batsman. It's saying, right, okay, come on, you're the one that's got to take charge here.
Yeah. Yeah, but hit me if you can.
And it sows doubt sometimes, doesn't it, when you've got that nagging length and accuracy.
Also the time, I mean, she's not bowling with any real pace. You've got all that time as a batter to just to wait there and watch the ball come at you. You've got that many thoughts going through your head. Too many. Come down, really nice shot. And a little bit of a mistake there from the fielder. Came in off the long on boundary and overran the ball. So it's gone over her head and away down there for 4.
Well, I'm so happy to see that, I can't tell you, because just a few weeks ago I was doing a little coaching session for some of the women in Divija when Harley there was one of them, and I was trying to get them to think about going to meet the ball, using the feet, not waiting for it to come to you, taking that initiative, and she did exactly that with that shot. That was a terrific effort.
This one's worked back around the corner. She got plenty on that. I imagine it's also going to run away to the boundary. Oh, has it been... Oh, it has. It's been pulled in down there. Oh, that's a surprise for everyone in the ground, I think. Especially all the Finnish supporters who definitely thought that was going to the boundary. It's been given 4, in fact, by the umpire. So
interesting.
I don't know quite what happened down there on the boundary, what the fielder was up to.
I'm not sure what he can see that we can't.
Yeah, I think the bowler there suggesting to the fielder that if it's gone for 4, you need to signal as such. So that was the miscommunication, but a couple of boundaries to end that over.
And a productive one for Finland there, despite some fairly tight bowling. 55 for 3, so that over there went for 9 runs. But she's getting into a stride now, is Divija, and she is, I can tell you, a very accomplished cricketer, terrific fielder.
That graphic not quite as exemplary as I was expecting. I did think that was going to be a Manhattan. Instead it was 2 small villages.
It wasn't quite a two-zilla, was it?
In rural Finland somewhere. Yeah, 2 guys named Ole yelling at each other over the fence.
Don't have fences here. Right, big gap. Oh, I thought there was going to be a big gap being left in the covers, but they're just rearranging the field. And again, they're going to persist with this this fielder just backward a square, fine leg, 3/4 of the way to the boundary.
So Ravindra Kumar into the attack, and she's been hoisted out towards mid-wicket. The ball running down the hill. Safi comes around to field it. And there's a bit of a miscommunication in the inner ring, because that was supposed to be a relay throw. The other player let it go, and in the end, it was the bowler herself who went running out towards the 25-metre circle to get the ball, and allowed the batsman to come through for what I believe was a 3rd run.
Yeah, well, good on the bowler, because it's her figures that are going to suffer if there's a miscommunication. But that is one area you can exploit often when the ball does go to the boundary. Often the throw isn't going to make it all the way in one go back to the stump, so you can quite easily steal an extra run.
Good pace on that delivery, but wide down leg side. Yes, we saw some really good arms in the field from Denmark earlier today. A couple of people clearly been practicing their cannons, but the fielder who had to run round and get that one on the mid-wicket boundary wasn't stationed anywhere near it, so that arm wasn't made for purpose. Forced into the offside again. Just a little bit of a fluff with the running, but she's made her ground despite the direct hit, and in the end we end up with a dot ball.
That's where fielding in pairs becomes so important. And you've got to have somebody covering you in case you feel you can't make the throw.
Short and wide outside off stump. I actually thought that might have bounced twice. So
like it, yeah.
A bit of a let-off for the bowler there perhaps. A no ball would normally supersede a wide. So she's escaped a free hit.
I I guess it depends where it bounces once it's past the batsman.
This one jammed into the deck.
See, that was very similar, but no call on that occasion.
This one forced into the leg side, and Kamari's the one to put it down, straight in and out.
That's a shame.
It was an easy one. It went straight in the breadbasket.
Yeah. A bit crocodile fingers going on there, I think, but it was a chance.
It was a little bit Hansel and Gretel. She was dropping the crumbs.
She did strike it well, though, in fairness. It came on at a lick.
This one's been wellied down the ground. It's a surprise they're only going to get one for that. She hit it quite well.
Yeah, the pace between the wickets of these two is not the same as it was perhaps when he had Sheridan at the crease, who was very quick. So a few missed opportunities for couples at the moment.
Jammed into the deck and struck firmly into the offside, running with the shot. And ooh,
that's a good arm.
A direct hit might have seen her in trouble.
That was a good arm.
Good piece of fielding there. I can't quite see who that is down there.
Just wondering, being left arm, whether it was our friend Agarwal, who also looks like she might be a gun fielder as well as a...
It was indeed Agrawal down there.
Bowler.
Looks like we're going to have a drinks break. Finland 63 for 3.
Yeah, not a bad start. I wouldn't say. I mean, they got off to the worst possible beginning in that first over, didn't they? With that horrendous run out after what was it, the second or third ball?
Yeah, Thavagur Raja. She was run out without facing a ball. It was her call. She ran it, but she got done in by a really nice piece of fielding. And then Nguyen got cleaned up by a good full ball from Safi before Stella popped one back to the bowler in the form of Agrawal, who bowled so very well in that opening stanza. For the time being, though, it's Unhali and Molipati who are at the crease, forming a really, really good partnership.
27 off 33, Divija Unhali, and I think as exhibited by the last over, she's looking to be a little more aggressive. She came down the wicket on an occasion to strike a terrific shot, and looks like she wants to hurry it up a little bit. But yeah, it's not a bad position to be in at the halfway stage. I wouldn't suggest that 100 plus they would be well within their sights, and that's what they've got to start setting themselves. But I think as a pair, like any batting pair anywhere, have got to set themselves a little target for the next couple of overs or so, and then they can reassess perhaps when they're 15, 16 down, depending on how many wickets they've got to come. But I think if Unhali stays there for another 5 or 6 overs, then they're going to be in with a shout of posting a good total. And if she stays all the way for the 20 overs, then it certainly will be a good total, you would think.
Yeah, Norway seemed to be struggling a little bit to find the middle of the bat earlier today. They did benefit quite a bit from the extras that were dished up by Denmark. So, given how they batted earlier today, this total, even just 63, could prove to be more challenging than one might think. If they can get to 3 figures, it might be beyond Norway.
Puya Kamari continuing. That was one of those that you were talking about in her last over, those that just make the batter think over and over again and think too much. Any batter knows it's the worst. You have these balls, especially balls that go high too, they're dropping on you. You're never quite sure how much they're going to dip.
That's a really good length. Good work from the keeper. get the bails off. The batter keeps her back foot down.
Well, luckily on that occasion, however, you've got to, with balls like this, I think you've got to start trying to use your feet a little bit more, come down the pitch, try and meet it on the full if you like, because you've just got to take one option or the other. You can't wait for the ball to come to you and then decide what shot you're going to play at the last minute. And that last one was a bit of a nothing shot, wasn't it, really? One of those that's the product of sowing the seeds of doubt.
Yes, what needs to happen here is if she can't collar her, she needs to push that single and rotate that strike.
Yeah.
Oh, and again the umpire walks away from his position. I do love this tactic. He just doesn't want to have the conversation with the bowler. There's no standing there and thinking about it. He is out of there.
There's a big gap at mid-on where they could just easily pinch a single. Long on the boundary, so no one filling that gap up to there. So a little push here would be nice.
Just trying to work it back around the corner, but the fielders converge and there'll be no run. Yeah, I think the tactics are just a little bit wrong here. She just needs to just find a single and then
boundary or
switch
single,
it
isn't
up.
it?
Oh. Meanwhile, she middles one out to mid-wicket, and they're going to go through for a single to end the over.
Well, she's pinched the strike.
Yeah, so and Harley's only going to get the one. Meanwhile, in the other game, there's an upset brewing. Sweden all over Denmark right now. Down the track she comes, striking it very, very straight. Just pitching in the outfield, a bit of a wedge. So again, just the single to end the over. So it'd be 65 for 3, Finland. In the other game, well, Denmark 35 for 9 in the 11th over. Sweden having the time of their lives.
That's happened extraordinarily quickly. I'm sure if at the halfway break here there were only 5 wickets down, Denmark, and they seem to have lost a clutch of them.
Yes, they started very well, but they've lost a whole packet of wickets. So Sweden will be more than elated with that. Denmark will be crestfallen. They'll be very, very disappointed with that sort of a score.
Yeah, that is a spanking on the cards, isn't it? 35 for 9. We're going to see Ravindra Kumar continue. She looks a bit lively in her first over. Took a little while to get it right, but nice busy action.
And there you go, Denmark bowled out for 35. Not a great afternoon at the office. They had a good win this morning, but dear me, Sweden have skittled them.
Well, they made the trip, didn't they, over to Tikkurila.
That's true. Maybe they're feeling the effects of lunch on the bus.
Yeah, or lunch at Tikkurila, you know.
Oh, they had
Finnish-sized portions, weighs you down.
They had their lunch here before they got on the bus and headed over, but yeah, they'll be really disappointed with that effort. Forced off the back foot into the offside, but there's no run there.
It's a good ball. She's impressed me, Ravindra Kumar. She's very busy. Back to the wicket as soon as she's bowled. She likes to get on with it. And Division Harley is the batter in form at the moment. Just struggling to pick her up.
That one's fallen down the leg side, so that'll be another wide. She's trying to collect it. I tell you, if she caught up with that one, it was going for 6.
Yeah, it was.
She was set up on the driving range.
Yeah, that comes under the Hoik category.
This one forced behind point on the offside. I'm sure she's going to try and come back for 2 here, and does.
That was a very nice shot, wasn't it? Just controlled, pick the gap, textbook little cut. between the two fielders, and I'm glad they managed to get back for 2.
Well, and Holly was the one who was pushing for it. She was running to the danger end, so ball very much in her court. She's calling the shots out there right now. Jammed into the deck, and it's just set up nicely to be tapped down the ground to mid-on.
Yeah, she'll be eyeing a big one here. And she's got to be saying to herself as well, look, you know, if I stay here until the end, we're guaranteed a target, a big total to set as a target.
Jammed into the deck, wide outside off stump. There's a small dog outside the commentary box.
He's loving it, that dog. He's absolutely loving it.
He wishes he was involved.
Yeah, well, it's like my dog. He just wants to chase the ball. So if he's anything like that, just hope she doesn't hit straight 6s. Well, that dog's going to have some fun. Might be off down the road with the ball.
I love that sort of enthusiasm. Just wants to be part of the game.
Yeah. Either that, or he's not happy that his favourite field is being used for cricket.
Oh, I'm sure they're not allowed to walk dogs here.
Oh no.
Charging in. A clean hit out towards square leg. The ball running down the hill towards the pavilion, and it's gone all the way for 4. Wonderful shot there.
That was a terrific shot, but that's what she's got to do. If she's not, as in the last over, looking to rotate the strike much, she's got to be hitting boundaries as long as she's not rotating the strike. And she middled that one, just pulled it backward a square for a boundary. Good shot.
Again jammed into the deck, again worked around the corner into the leg side. This time, fielder in position to cut it off, and it'll just be the single. The sun getting a little bit lower here in Finland, starting to creep in through the window of the comm box. Sunglasses on, baseball cap on.
Yep, the sun is getting lower, that's for sure. That's a big shot.
Strike down the ground, and it looks like it's spun on the girl at mid-on, and it looks like it's gotten past her as well. Oh, and she throws the ball down. She's not happy. It's one of those things, isn't it? The spin of the ball once it lands in the turf. It absolutely did for her that time and ran away to the boundary. She did her best to try and reel it in, but couldn't catch up with it once it got past her. So another boundary to Finland. They're going along great guns. 80 for 3 now after 12 overs. And as we were saying just before, Denmark bowled out for 35 by Sweden in the other game at Tikkurila.
Yeah, Denmark have made as many runs as Divija Unhali has made in this match. She's 35 not out off 38. That last over for Finland, coming 15 runs coming from it. So they are accelerating.
Well, it was a dominant performance in that last game by Denmark against Norway. Good piece of bowling that. But likewise, you know, Sweden had the wood on Finland in the first game today. I've been saying all along that it was Denmark's tournament, that they were the ones to beat. Perhaps Sweden have brought their A game.
Yep, setting the pace early on, it seems. Another one of those shots where you're just waiting for the ball to come from Pooja and just not really committing to one shot or the other.
Sitting on the back foot, struck out into the leg side as I swallow a bug.
The old lady swallowed a fly.
I'm just glad it wasn't a wasp.
Well, you get your breath back. We don't want any
excuse me,
incidents. Yeah, bring your fader down. That's good. Have a good cough. As Pooja Kamari comes in around the wicket again, and Divija Unhali just blocks that one. But she's got a very high looping delivery, and if it's not short, if it's full, it does have the batter in two minds. If it's shorter, we've seen them try to pull the ball a little bit more. This time Divija tries to cut it, as it lands outside her off stump, and she's a bit irritated with herself, feeling that she's missed out there.
Have you tried this taste sensation? It's a Pepsi Max. The flavour is mint lime.
I mean, other cola-based products are available, I would imagine, but mint and lime, no thank you.
I think it's one of those things when you're travelling the world and you're getting to be in different countries and try different foods. It's always interesting when there's a mainstream brand that have a different flavour to what you're used to. I thought I'd give the mint lime a go.
You haven't tried the Coca-Cola mousse flavour then?
Mousse flavour?
No, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
I would have. I've been in Sweden before. I remember I was in Stockholm and I asked to try the mousse balls. They turned to me and they said, "Sir, that's not for you." It's not for you, sir.
Okay.
I tried at 2 different restaurants. I got the same response both
Why?
times.
What kind of restaurant turns away an order?
The sort that says, "Sir, they're not for you. Those mousse balls." That one struck firmly into the leg side and they'll run through for an easy single. But yes, I thought I'd try the Pepsi mint lime today. It's an interesting sensation. Have you ever had a Cape gooseberry?
I have not.
I used to have Cape gooseberries growing in my grandmother's garden, the sort of fruit that you'd steal off the vine when it came your way.
So what's the difference between a Cape gooseberry and your normal gooseberry?
Well, the Cape gooseberry is yellow. And, you know, gooseberries come in many forms. I'm from New Zealand. The kiwi fruit, it counts as a gooseberry.
Oh, I see.
But it's nothing like that. It's small. It's sort of grape-sized, like a large grape. But I can tell you, it tastes a lot like Pepsi Max mint lime, which is an interesting flavour. I never thought I'd have a Cape gooseberry flavoured soft drink.
Pepsi Cape gooseberry flavour perhaps wouldn't be
No.
the best marketing plan. I have gooseberries growing in my garden at home, but I can't stand the things, so I don't touch them. I can't be doing sourness.
It's not sour at all, but it is its own flavour.
Anyway, back to the game. 84 for 3 in Finland as we digress down the gooseberry lane.
I was
change
thinking,
your bowling, Jez?
No, I was thinking about calling my firstborn gooseberry. But,
gooseberry has connotations, doesn't it?
Only in English.
Yeah. You don't want to be a gooseberry at the party.
So here we go. The captain, Amadi, running in from the brewery end. Big, whippy, Lasith Malinga style action.
Yeah, that went through at a good rate. Took the batter by surprise.
No, she's got a bit of pace about her, but like some of the other bowlers we've seen in action today, struggles sometimes with the radar. That was a good one, though, to start. And that's the other side of the coin, flicking it down the leg side. But you can see how far she winds back. It's very much like Malinga. You can see the ball right out the other side of her body from behind her back when she's loading up.
Well, it was always a miracle to me that somebody like Malinga could bowl so well with that action.
Well, you can see the pace that she's able to generate.
Yeah, it's terrific. But just the control element must be so difficult. Then again, if you know no different, your action has always been that way. It's no different to anyone else, I suppose, who's coming perhaps with a straighter arm.
There are advantages to that kind of bowling style. One, of course, is you can get the ball to tail in late.
And quite difficult to pick up as a batter when the ball is coming from such a low trajectory as well.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about those balls that loop and come from high, but when they don't really get that much above head height, they can be difficult, skiddy, especially down the hill here on the artificial wicket.
There we go, all struck back towards the bowler. She dives to her right to try and reel it in. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding between the batters. There's a shot at the stumps too, but in the end, no run. One of the other advantages with this sort of bowling action is the ability to hide your slower ball really well. So if she's got an off-cutter, the batter is unlikely to see it coming. It was one of the things that, again, Malinga was able to do at Yorker length, which was so deadly for so many batsmen.
Yeah.
This one jammed into the deck, hit high on the bat, and a very simple catch at mid-wicket. Kamari doesn't make a mistake this time. Nice and patient, soft hands. And Amadi strikes.
Yeah, Mulapati going for 16. It was an identical effort that Kamari took to the one she dropped a few overs ago, and she made no mistake that time. But that was nice from Mulapati. She was hitting the ball with some pace at times. Running between the wickets was perhaps a little slower, but Divijo and Harley is still there, and if she can continue with a partner, perhaps pick up a few extra ones or twos where there might have only been ones with Mulapati there, that'll help their acceleration. But after 13.2 overs, 87 for 3, Finland would have bitten your hand off for that, I think, at the start. 87 for 4. And just going back to that thing about that slinging action, I mean, I remember batters saying about facing Malinga was the thing that the ball actually just disappeared halfway through the action. So you're concentrating on watching the ball out of the bowler's hand, but it just disappeared because the way he moved his body, and a little bit like Imadi is doing here, the ball just disappears for a fraction of a second.
When he first came on the scene, when he was a youngster and still bowling 150 clicks with that action, his delivery point was right in the throat of the umpire. And so the New Zealand batters were complaining that they were losing the ball against the umpire's ties, and they made them take them off. And they had this huge debate between the players and the umpires about whether or not the umpires should take their ties off. But they were black ties on a white shirt, and sure enough, the red ball was disappearing inside the tie. So,
I mean, I've heard some excuses in my time.
Oh, we might have not played him as well as we could have done. But he was new on the scene. We'd never seen anything like it before. So
yeah, I think the ties were probably the least of their concerns. Let's try that one though. Next time I'm struggling to pick the ball up. And you won't lose it against the umpires' outfits here. They're bright pink. What umpires? They're all screaming.
Yeah, well, they've seen the Barbie movie and they're living out their dream out there on the field. Another one down the leg side.
My next question about the Malinga bowling to the Kiwis and the umpires. When did umpires last wear ties?
Well, that might have been the last time. We complained so hard that they simply took them out the back and burned them.
I think, in the heat that cricket is often played in, having a necktie was not a great idea.
This one's short outside the off stump, but struck straight to point. Even though there's a fumble, there's no chance of a single, and that will bring to the end a long but successful over for Imadi. She picked up that key wicket, even though she leaked 5 wides. Very few runs off the bat, if any, in fact.
No, none, yeah. I'm reliably informed by the powers that be that the colour the umpires are sporting is, wait for it, fuchsia.
That's no fuchsia.
I
That's a puce. Maybe a light magenta.
You've been painting at home recently? Just going to reel off a colour chart now.
It's just that I know fuchsia. That's no fuchsia.
Anyway,
that's Barbie girl pink, my friend.
Back to the fuchsia. Here's Pooja.
Oh, was there a little inside edge on that one? Not much from the fielders to give that one away.
She's got to start going after her, I think, here, Divija and Harley.
She's got to get the strike. So down the track and down to long on. Good use of the feet, trying to knock her off her length.
Yeah, she did that, and she has to start doing that, I think. She's really got to start trying to dominate the bowler. There's no good waiting for it, and as we've talked about, changing your mind several times. So that was good to see a couple of steps down the pitch.
Not sure what the batsman is signalling to the dugout for there.
Well, at the same time as the keeper and bowler were having a word, which I would like to have been trying to listen into if I'd been the batter.
Oh, It's a nice piece of bowling, tossing it up outside the off stump. A forward prod, and the keeper has absolutely destroyed the castle.
That's the temptation, isn't it, with these bails and wickets that light up.
It just makes it feel like a very special occasion, doesn't it? But
the one is still blinking.
hang on. She's going to swap over and come over the wicket instead of going around. And she's thrown that one down the leg side. The wicket-keeper once again tempted to play trebuchet and destroy the castle, but shows a little bit of self-control.
Well, she's gone around the wicket and almost had a stumped outsider off peg. And she switched over the wicket and then immediately speared it down the leg side. So,
yeah, I would have stayed around the wicket after that previous delivery. But it's all right. The bowler playing mind games with the batsman.
that's the tentativeness there of a new batter to the crease. Not quite sure what to do to Kamari, whether to stick or twist.
She's tossed it right up. She's going fishing.
Yeah, but I think she's happy to say, right, let's see the over out and give Unhali the strike for the next one.
Well, that is the end of Kamari's spell anyway. There was a little bit of bass fishing towards the end of that over, but she's finished her spell, none for 17. Some good cricket there.
Yeah, I mean, she bowled well, and she just knows what she's doing. Not too many wides given, apart from that one after she just changed from around the wicket to over the wicket. But she's just asking questions of the batters. So I think they'll be glad to have seen her go, because one of the things you've got to do as well with a bowler like that is you've got to generate the pace off the bat yourself. And you know, it's easier said than done sometimes. At 91 for 4, Finland, so closing in on that 100. About to start the 16th over.
Good ball to start this over once again from Amadi. As she did the last over, her first ball was probably her best one.
Yeah, it went downhill from there, didn't it?
Yeah, well, apart from that wicket, she got it high up on the bat, on the stickers, and forced that wicket, but when she hits that line and length. There we go. This is like an instant replay of the last over. Really good ball to start, then one down the leg side.
So there'll be a wicket off the 4th or 5th then?
Yeah, I'd say there'd be a wicket off the 4th ball. Not that we're encouraging a wager of any kind, but eyes open, everyone.
Yeah, I really hope there isn't now. Ball shot.
Struck really nicely through the offside, running out towards the boundary. Good piece of fielding down there to whip the ball up into the air before it went over the line, and backed up by her compatriot and gets the ball back, keeps it to 2.
Very good. 3 fielders involved in that, relaying the ball back from the boundary, so good teamwork.
Now we're on the wicket delivery.
Allegedly.
Well, you just don't want to have to finish off this Pepsi Max mint and lime, do you?
You're right.
There's the outside edge, flies down towards the fielder, and I just get to watch Richard thank his lucky stars that he didn't have to finish this Pepsi. Ball comes flying in from the boundary, and just the 2.
Seemed to take the fielder by surprise, didn't it?
Took you by surprise?
Well, not so much by surprise, that's the worry. Yeah, I thought that was a golden opportunity for a catch, but there we go, we've safely negotiated that one.
Just a little bit wrong-footed. It looked like she just went to the left instead of the right there.
Maybe struggling to pick it up from behind the fuchsia shirts. Right, changing the field. So that fine leg fielder, it's been on the boundary, which has been fairly redundant for most of the time spent there, has now come into the ring.
Still have a cover sweeper out. Onto the legs, tapped out to square, and they run through for a good single.
Yeah, that's good. That's the kind of single they perhaps wouldn't have taken an over or two ago.
Yes, Riakula
Much
looks
younger.
like a bit of a whippet between the wickets.
Yeah, young player. Young and quick and very athletic. So I think, you know, that's a good partner to have for Divijo and Harley at the moment. A good ball, looked like. So 97 for 4, Finland. Terrific effort so far. Very happy with this, they'll be.
And that's a wild one down the leg side.
Yeah, I'd like to know the percentage of the runs. 98 of them now have come from wide deliveries.
Well, we can work it out, but...
Or at least just the number of wides. I don't think we need to go for the percentage, do we? That would be daft.
That one into the thigh pad, and they managed to scamper through for a leg bye.
Well, that was a good single. A good leg bye to take. And she spotted that early, and Harley, as she nicked that single, but it's the... Is it the end of the over now?
Yeah, that's the end of the over, and I can
It
answer
is.
your wides question. It's
Okay.
22 for this innings.
Okay, well, not quite as many as I thought, actually. Or not perhaps as many as it felt like. But yeah, 22. So 77 for 4 they would be without those, but 99 for 4. One away from the psychologically important 100, I would say, for Finland. I'd be very happy with this indeed. Sweden, by the way, in reply to Denmark's 35 all out, are already 12 without loss after the first over. So I think that's what you might call a foregone conclusion.
Well, if there's any risk of any further rain today here north of Helsinki, well, they want to get that game done and dusted just as quickly as they possibly can. And that is another wide to add to the tally.
There's no great forecasts for any more rain, certainly here in Kerava. I'm not quite sure about Tikkurila, but that's not a million miles away. Just looking at the radar for this area for the next couple of hours, we seem to... It looks like we're going to escape any rain that is around, and what there is around are very small showers, so we should be safe for the rest of this game.
Ravindra Kumar is the one who swapped around here to the village end. Starting with a couple of wides.
Yeah, 100 is up now. Round of applause would be nice. Have they noticed? Maybe it's so commonplace, the 100.
That's a loose one. That came out the side of the hand. So a difficult start to this over for Ravindra Kumar.
Yeah, a little bit ragged, isn't it now? Perhaps a little bit of tiredness. Two, change of ends.
Change of ends, especially on a sloping ground like this one. Maybe it's...
And psychologically, going up that hill does feel like going up that hill. It isn't that much of a hill, to be honest, but there is a psychological element to it. There's a run-out chance.
Yeah, I can tell you whenever I've been bowling, the idea that I run uphill or into the wind is always frowned upon, especially in my frail dotage.
Some bowlers, you know, explicitly prefer going up the hill.
Well, not all Gavin Larson.
Yeah.
That one's played nicely into the offside, but straight to the fielder at point.
I think one thing I did find as well, that if there is a significant slope, going uphill always seemed to be easier than going downhill in terms of your run-up. Going downhill often led to no balls just because you gathered perhaps a little bit of extra pace. So it could play havoc with your run-up. So sometimes, depending on where it was, uphill wasn't a bad shout.
I played in a ground once, that's another no ball. I played in a ground once where it was essentially a bowl, where the pitch was right in the centre of the bowl. And you ran down quite a slope to the wicket, and it threw you off horribly. And really jarred the front leg and the hips and the back. You came off that field very sore.
Well, yeah, you suddenly, the paces you've been working on for however many years, if you're going down the hill, they become much longer.
Or if you're anything like me and have put on 10 kilos, suddenly all that extra weight being forced through that front leg.
But let's be honest, at the top level, there are no real hills you're running up. Even the hill at Lord's is insignificant, really.
Thank you for suggesting I ever played at the top level. That one's been struck nicely behind square, running away towards the rope. It's going to be reeled in. It is going up the hill that way. They've turned, and it looks like they're going to complete 3.
Yeah, very good.
That's
well
good
run.
Thinking. Really, really good cricket.
Very well run. She's taken command here as Divya and Harley. She's running it. She's eyeing a 50 as well.
There's a lot of excitement from the team on the boundary.
Quite rightly. It's a great innings for Finland. This will give them huge confidence.
Well, they're very excited about that 3, quite frankly. I wonder if they've been practicing that.
Well, I'm glad to see a 3 because there aren't enough 3s run. And there are many 3s missed.
Yeah, there's been some 3s missed today. I haven't been happy about this one. Struck out towards the covers. There'll be a good chase. They'll come back for 2.
Oops.
Fielder slips as she throws it in, but she got it away.
Yeah, perhaps not a lush outfield we were mentioning earlier. If you've not got any kind of cleats on your footwear, it's quite an easy ground to slip on. And of course, with the artificial wicket, nobody's wearing spikes. Although I do know players that bring 2 pairs of shoes to play with, and when they're not bowling, they change them on the boundary if they're fielding on the in the outfield, which isn't a bad thing to do here. As 110 for 4, Finland reach.
Yes, we come to the end of that extended 10-ball over from Ravindra Kumar. Perhaps that's what Finland were celebrating. Do we know their highest ever team score?
I can't tell you that off the top of my head, but I'm sure we will be informed of that forthwith. Perhaps that was what the score, the excitement was about. But no matter what, 110 for 4, you'd be excited about that anyway, I think. That's a very respectable effort, and they'll just want now Divya and Harley to get to her 50. She's 45 off 50 deliveries. She's not facing now.
I think anything above 120 will be a real challenge today. Fired in. Once again, the first ball of her over is a cracker.
Yep, and we know the form after the first ball. The second one will be down the leg side. Called a wide. No.
There you go, she's called your bluff.
Very good, very good. Well, she's had enough practice. But that was, well, 2 good balls to start with, especially because they're to the new batter. So she doesn't want to be doing anything daft. She's just got to rely on the accuracy and make that new batter, who's very young, inexperienced, but with great talent, but they've got to make the decision.
This one jammed into the deck, a little bottom edge, evades the keeper and runs away for a single.
Good running. Brings Unharley back on strike. She's 45. She could do it in one shot, but have we seen any 6s so far in the first game?
Not. I think it was one of the Norwegian players, maybe one of the Swedes, who pumped one over the wall at the far end and onto the motorway. And then one of the French opening batsmen was good enough to hit one over the top of the pavilion or into the pavilion on the full. Some very big hits indeed.
Yeah, a lot of wet balls on that occasion. 18th over done then. Finland 112 for 4. So a pretty good over, that actually. Only 2 coming from it, from Imadi. She's got a radar working, finally. 1 for 14 off 3.
I think those are the only runs she's had off the bat so far, actually. Those 2 singles from that over, so when she's got it right, she's been very, very hard to hit.
So Sweden have a required run rate of 0.65 to get home against Denmark, who they bowled out for 35. They're 25 for 1 in the 4th over.
We've got Safi coming back into the attack for her final over, bowling from the village end. Struck into the leg side, mid-off running around. Good arm into the bowler's end. Could have been tight if it was a direct hit, but that's a good 2.
Good cricket all round there. Nice shot, use of the feet, picking the gap. Fielder got round well. Nice throw in the end. Good pick up by the bowler, who was well positioned. I was happy to see. That takes Harley on to 48 now, so 2 away from a half century. 54 deliveries she's faced.
Jammed into the deck and struck out into the leg side. Once again, the fielder has to run around to cut it off, but she does well, and it'll just be the single.
Yeah, there's a little misfield there. I wonder if there's a slight temptation to go for it, just to push you 50, but I think wisely she stayed at home.
Nobody wants to be run out for 49.
I'd rather that than run out without facing the second ball of the match, as we had earlier in the innings.
Jammed into the deck and stroked to square leg. It's gone straight to the fielder, but Kumari couldn't pick it up quite fast enough to cut off the single. And I think what the batter is signalling to her teammates on the boundary is to cheer louder whenever she scores a single.
Okay. Watchful, good ball.
Defended back to the bowler. Yes, I think she's trying to rack up her teammates to cheer her on and push these 2 onto an even larger total.
Orchestrating the crowd, Stuart Broad style.
And that one, well, that's going to bring up her 50. It's going to be a no ball, but she got hold of it after the second bounce and smacked it away behind square for 4. So that is 50 for Unhale. Really, really well played. And she receives a warm reception from her teammates.
Yeah, excellent innings. And we said, didn't we, from quite early on, if she were to stay there past the 16th over or so, it would be a good total, and an even better one if she went all the way now into the penultimate over and she passes a 50. Terrific innings. Really pleased for her.
I haven't seen a signal from the umpire there that this is a free hit, but she's come waltzing down the track and smacked it over the offside, running out towards the boundary where it will be cut off. 2 runs.
Yeah, terrific stuff. And now she's realising, look, you know, 50's under my belt, 120 for 4. We've got 6 left in the hutch. Let's just go for this now for the last over or so. Interesting
call there from the umpire. He didn't give a no ball for that double bouncer that she pumped away for 4.
Yeah, because it's almost like she hit it on the half volley of the second bounce.
Definitely. Yeah, she absolutely drop kicked it round the corner. So interesting. Maybe the umpire doesn't believe that it bounced a second time, but
well, she won't care.
Well, it saved Norway another run and, you know, a free hit. Here's Amadi jamming it into the deck.
Kula now has just got to try and nick a single, get Divij and Harley back on strike for the last few balls of the innings, because she's flying at the moment.
She got right on the top of that bounce and knocked it into the leg side. There's a shy at the stumps at the bowler's end, but no problem.
Yeah, very good. That's exactly what she needed to do.
Good game awareness there from Kula.
Yeah, young player, but good to see there's a head that's thinking there as well. And she played a nice shot, to be fair, too. She's done very well since she's come in to support Harley.
That one's short and helped up over the leg side. That'll also run away for 4 down towards the pavilion. Lovely strike right out of the meat of the bat. And Kula absolutely showing what world champion, I can't remember the name for, is it hobby horses, where you just have the horse's head on a pole?
Yeah, that's it. That's a big sport here.
Yeah, well, there was a little bit of that from Kula down the middle of the pitch to celebrate the boundary of her teammate.
That was a terrific shot, though. I mean, it bounced just a couple of times before it passed the rope. She really nailed that one. She's looking in terrific nick, as you would do on 55 or 58.
It's the way you want to start a tournament, isn't it? Good score, get yourself into form.
Ooh, well
Good piece of bowling.
She saw her coming, didn't she, I think?
That wide Yorker length, a really good delivery. This one struck firmly out towards the cover sweeper. No question she'll turn for 2. They make it easily in the end.
Okay, that was just a lovely shot. I mean, she just used the pace of the ball. I mean, Imadi's not is not a slouch, so she's had a bit of pace on the ball, and she just really kind of kissed the surface of the bat with the ball there, just guided it really nicely.
And as we come towards the end of this innings, I can tell you the other game is done and dusted. Sweden have knocked it off by 9 wickets in just the 5th over. So huge win there for Sweden. Here comes Imadi. And it's a nasty, nasty beamer. So that will be a no ball and a free hit, which will bring up the 130 for Finland.
Yeah, they must have a dinner reservation somewhere in Vantaa, Sweden. They want to get on with it today, 39 for 1.
Well, that Tikkurila match is right next to where we're all staying, so they won't have far to go to celebrate.
Interesting, though, because
struck up and over the leg side. There's no one back there, and that's going to go for 4 as well, down towards the pavilion.
if there were a time they needed that fine leg that was wasted, I think, for a lot of overs earlier on in the innings, now is when they need it, because that's the second 4 she's picked off down in that area of the ground.
It was a wonderful piece of placement, getting it up over the infield and away down to the boundary. I'm sure Norway will make the change now, and someone will go back there on the rope. First things first, though, they've got to get the ball back.
Yeah, they've got to move the covers that are there, and she's just signalling for a little bit of help, so they finally managed to do that now.
Meanwhile, Ria Kula, she is trying to pump up that set of teammates down there. I tell you, if there was a crowd of 1,000 people in here today, Ria Kula would be absolutely orchestrating them in the palm of her hand.
Well, it must be a lovely feeling. You know, she's there, she's not going to get out now, final ball, unless she's run out, but her team's on 135 for 4.
Well, they've not put that fine leg back.
They haven't.
Into the deck and up and over. Ball races down there towards the rope once again. Huge celebrations from the Finnish team on the boundary, but none bigger than Ria Kula, who punches gloves with her teammate. An absolutely wonderful knock from Onhale. She has creamed her way to a very nice 69 of 64 balls. Finland end this innings 139 for 4. That's a really, really good total, and that will test Norway, no question about it.
Yeah, that was a terrific effort. I wasn't quite sure watching the first game of this Nordic Cup for me this weekend. Obviously, very hopeful that Finland would put on a show, and they have excelled themselves there. Fantastic performance, 139 for 4. They would be delighted with that. And Division Harley, I know what a fantastic cricketer she is. And she's just dominated that attack, 69 off 64. So she took a strike rate above 100 towards the end there. And she was well supported by pretty much all of her partners, bar the one of the openers, who was unfortunately run out in the first over without scoring. But from that point on, when things could have become calamitous, the confidence would have dipped at that point, and it might have been a difficult psychological trick to bring yourselves back from that. They've done it in style. 139 for 4, and for sure 140 for Norway's a huge target here at Kerava.
Yes, you can see the Norwegian side there just having a think about things, a little discussion about where things might have gone a little bit sideways, how they're going to go about this chase as they come off the park. It's not going to be an easy one. Trying to put up 140 this afternoon against the Finns on their home turf, that's a big, big ask. But there is your summary so far. Unhale, the absolute standout, with 69 from 64 balls. Well supported along the way by Mulipati and Sheridan. Agrawal bowled really, really well in her 4 overs, 1 for 14. As well as Safi, who let a few wide slip, but was never really collared by the batsman. And Imadi, who bowled some really good balls, but got a little bit of stick there in that last over to finish up. So we will take a little break now. I hope you will take time as well to grab yourself a cup of tea and a bicky. And we will see you back here in 10 minutes for the chase. Can Norway stop the Finns from starting the party? See you soon. Welcome back here to the Kirova National Cricket Ground, just outside of Vantaa, north of Helsinki in beautiful Finland, where we're in Game 3 of the Nordic T20. Finland taking on Norway, and I can tell you, Finland have had all the running in the first innings. An absolutely marvellous batting display, led by Unhale with a magnificent 69. Really nice piece of batting from her, working the ball around the clock, over the ring and away to the boundary, especially the last over where she took the Norwegian captain Amadi apart. And now it will be Norway's turn to try and track down 140. A really big score on this outfield. It's going to be a big ask.
It's going to be a huge ask, I think. Even if they last the 20 overs, they've got to go some to keep up with the rate that Finland set. And I'm delighted to see Finland put on such a big target.
The bowler, sorry, just realised the bowler left their cap on. But we're going to get underway now. It will be Kulla to open. Just nudged off the back foot into the offside, and Norway are underway from the get-go.
Yeah, good start, and that'll ease their nerves a little bit. They've got a long way to go, but a single off the first delivery, which wasn't a bad one. Nice pace from Goulart coming in, little short, but no, a little bit of control from the batter there, just to nudge a single and get them off the mark.
And there's a wide. That's the thing that they'll want to have complete control of. Norway sent down too many extras.
This is key, and I think one thing I'm quite encouraged by is the bowler there just sort of turning round, running back to their mark and wanting to get on with it again. I think you can think about it too much. You've just got to turn round and get on with it again. First ball was a cracker, second one just lost it a bit.
Another one wide outside the off stump, but good pace to begin.
Yeah, just get into it.
Just having a look around the field to see where the fielders are outside the ring. Looks like we've got a deep mid-wicket in place and nobody else.
Yeah, and that's a field position I think Norway could have used a little bit more in there when they were fielding. When they were being carted through the leg side by Unhale quite a lot. They missed a bit of a trick, I think, to put a couple out there on the boundary. Finland have gone there right from the very start. Norway, for the first 6-8 overs or so, had fielders exclusively inside the ring.
Very full ball, tapped back towards the bowler. Safi's had a very busy day for Norway. She opened the batting in the first game, opened the bowling in the first game, bowled 4 overs here, and now she's opening the batting once again. It's a big workload.
Oh.
Swing and a miss outside the off stump. Just getting the length a little bit wrong.
Yeah, that was a good ball. They kind of dipped a little bit at the end there. She bowled a few with a decent pace, quite short, but that one's a little fuller, but got a little bit of bounce on it as well, and put the batter in in 2 different minds, I think, there.
Little bottom edge through to the keeper.
But I like this, getting round. She's running back to her mark, full of energy and enthusiasm. You know, that's not a bad thing to do when you're a fielding side. Get through your overs quickly, particularly when you're defending a big score, because before you know it, if you get through your overs quickly, that target becomes even bigger. So good energy from Finland, despite the wides. It's good to see the heads aren't dropping.
That one's been wided, but Safi will feel she missed out there. It's set up nicely to be struck out through the offside.
Yeah, it's another thing, isn't it? The lengths being so unpredictable, and of course the line. You're not really setting yourself as a batter. It takes a little while just to get used to it.
This one nudged out into the leg side. Miscommunication between the wickets. A shy at the stumps at the keeper's end. In the end, no harm, no foul. And that brings a closure to that first over. Fourth right.
Yep. Just one off the bat. So Finland 3 for 1, a reminder, in their first over after their disastrous run out, where one of their opening batters was run out without facing a delivery. But that was really the only sort of blemish on a terrific innings. I mean, they'll be pleased as well that they kept their wickets intact and managed to accelerate throughout their innings. They were going along nicely for most of it, but one thing they didn't do is lose momentum, which so often happens, and keeping wickets intact, of course, is the best way of maintaining that momentum. So all round, Finland got a lot to be very proud of. They've just got to go and match that now with ball in hand.
Yes, here comes Nguyen. Good left arm pace.
Yeah, she has got pace. She can hurtle in as well and fling it down. Again, quite a sort of slingy action. But again, good to see. She's getting back to her mark quickly. Not letting the batsman settle.
No, they might know something we don't. They might have been looking at the weather radar over the break and decided that there's something on the way, and they want to get through this first 5 overs and make sure it's an official match.
Well, I haven't seen anything that's too threatening, and certainly the clouds are pretty high and not too dark, so we're okay for now. But yeah, it's not a bad thing to do anyway.
Really, really good pace there from Nguyen. It's been worked away nicely back behind point, and they're going to turn and come back for 2. That's great running. Really, really good running from Norway, but some tremendous pace being shown there from Nguyen. That was, as far as I'm concerned, probably one of the quickest balls that we've seen on the park from any of the 3 sides who've played today here at Kerava.
Yeah, she has got some pace, and it was good running, particularly because they took it to Unharley, who's one of the quicker fielders and better arms in the Finnish side.
Again, good bowling. Yes, once Finland attains full international status, I think they're just going to drop in at this level, aren't they, in terms of being competitive?
Yeah, the big challenge for us in Finland is increasing the numbers and the depth here. We have a very small core of women playing the game, and unlike some of the other nations, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, that are playing in this Nordic Cup, we don't quite have the depth at the moment and the strength in depth. So that's one of the longer term objectives for cricket in Finland, just to increase the numbers.
Lots of transferable skills in Finland, though. People
Absolutely.
who play ice hockey and tennis and other racket sports, floorball, all sports which lend themselves to cricketing skills that can be turned into match winners.
The big sport you didn't mention, which is big here, which is peculiarly Finnish sport, is pesäpallo, which is a form of Finnish baseball, which is huge in certain parts of the country, particularly central Finland, which is a terrific sport. It's a Finnish variation of baseball. And of course, talking about transferable skills, hitting and throwing,
It's a great ball.
It was a great ball. That's certainly an area we could tap into. But Finns are also very open to new sports. So while it's a longer term project, it's not without optimism.
Well, I can tell you, if you've got a few more of these characters who bowl good swift left arm,
Yeah,
I mean, that's very challenging.
It's very good. And I mean, she bowls very well, but it's always lovely to have a left armer, isn't it? And we're talking about how good Norway were with Agarwal first up bowling her slow left arm stuff. But having a left arm option is always nice for any team. I think that can go and bowls particularly well. Are you familiar with Pesapalo, Jez?
I am. Although the pitching is a little bit confusing for me. That's a wonderful piece of bowling again. A big appeal. Oh, well. I think Finland got lucky.
Wow.
They're celebrating like they've won the World Cup, but I think they got very, very lucky. I didn't hear an edge. I didn't see an edge. It's gone through to the keeper. The keeper's appealed to both umpires, which is a bit unusual. And the umpire at this end, he's given it out.
It's a very late call. I'm wondering if he looked at the square leg to get a signal whether or not the square leg umpire heard anything. But to be honest, I've seen that happen. It shouldn't be that his call.
The umpires might be having a word with the keeper now, just telling her to calm down.
All right. Well, anyway, the end result is it is a wicket, and Norway are 8 for 1.
Yeah, Nguyen bowling superbly there. Really, really was. So that brings the end of a successful over for her. And rich celebration from the Finnish side. But I'd love to see it on a replay because I don't think the batsman got near it.
Yeah.
Just my personal opinion.
A strange one. Because we're too far away to hear anything, and we've got headphones on as well, which doesn't help. But yeah, that was an odd one. Very late decision anyway. It stands 8 for 1. 2 overs gone. Terrific over from Yane then. And it'll be Goulart to continue.
Tapped away back to the bowler.
They're clapping every dot ball here as well, aren't they?
Oh, Finland are pumped up.
Yeah, you can feel it's infectious, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a cream for that. And that one's down the leg side. What is it that Finland need to do to reach full international status? Do you know what's standing in their way currently?
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. You see,
are all of these players on the park, are they eligible to play and represent Finland?
No, that's a question, again, I can't answer. You'd have to talk to the powers that be, I think. I can't see why not, but I think perhaps it's just a lot to do with how many times they've played and how many international matches they can get in before they can achieve that status. Estonia, which has a very similar sort of cricketing heritage to Finland, if you want to call it that, does have that status. But whether or not that's just through the number of games played or not, I don't know. We'll endeavour to find out over the weekend and put this right for you.
We'll definitely know by tomorrow. Struck into the offside, falls just short of the fielder. And Safi, smart there, watching the ball, choosing not to take off for the run.
Good fielding as well. She got down on one knee and watched for that spin, which one of the Norwegian fielders didn't do earlier on, to her embarrassment at the time.
That's a short one, knocked back down the pitch by Safi.
This is very encouraging, and matches like this can do no harm to their bid, if that's what it is, to gain that full international status.
Well, unless all 11 of these players are from Australia or something.
Well, I know that's definitely not the case.
Good piece of fielding in the onside, but the bowler wasn't able to collect that ball to affect the run out, so that's a single to Safi.
Yeah, 129 still needed, and they're crawling along really here, so much so that Finland have brought in there. I know they've still got the fielder out on the mid-wicket boundary, which is not a bad thing, but nothing's threatened her out there so far.
That's an interesting one. It's going to be called dead ball because the batsman wasn't ready. She looked up and the bowler was delivering the ball, so she was within her rights to step away. You do want the batsman to be ready, though. I think the onus is often on the batsman to be ready. Much more so this delivery. Tapped away into the offside. She tries to take off for a single. I think there probably was one there, but they've turned it down.
That's one of those strange anomalies about cricket I can never understand. Maybe it's because I was a bowler, but you know, it's quite clear that you have to be, as a batter, ready if the bowler is ready. The amount of times that batters pull away at the last minute.
Slower ball.
Yeah, good one.
This one tapped into the leg side. The underarm goes into the bowler, who again fails to collect the ball and affect the run out. So another single.
Yeah, sorry, just getting on back onto my bugbear of mine. The amount of times that batsmen
You've been waiting years to have
delay.
this tanty, haven't you?
Oh no, I've had it many a time before. Just the amount of times that batters delay bowlers by doing the gardening, undoing the gloves, putting the gloves back on, fiddling with the pads, etc., etc. It slows the game down enormously, and yet it's always the batter who can pull away at the last minute. Never quite understand that. Anyway, rant over. So 12 for 1 after 3.
Yes, Nguyen's going to continue from the village end. Really, really good first over from her.
Yeah, it was terrific.
She'll be bowling to the new batter, the captain of the Norway side, Amadi, who bowled some really great slinging deliveries earlier today. Let's see what she can do with the bat. Yeah, see, that's really, really good pace. A little bit wild, you know, flying away there, wide outside off stump, but it's actually so wide it's been no balled. So this will count as a free hit, I believe.
Yeah, off the mat.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wrong one, but the amount of pace that she's showing, the intent from the bowler to really charge in and bowl as quick as she can is really, really good to see.
Norway missed a trick there, though. They could have stolen a single, I think.
This one jammed into the deck, high on the bat. It's run away down to fine leg, so that's a single.
That could have been a keeper's catch.
That's the first one today that I've seen get up around that head height. I've seen a few dug in by the bowlers, but that's the first one to really come up off the deck and, you know, attack the batsman around that head height.
Yes.
Really, really good piece of fast bowling.
Safi's a bit taller, so that might be a little more risky to her if she tries it again. But then again, at that pace.
Down the leg side, and that'll be another wide. Nguyen just stretching it out. Hope she hasn't done any damage. Any information on where she came from in terms of other sporting prowess?
I don't know.
I know there's a few swimmers going around these teams. Big, strong shoulders, used to that overarm action. Dug in again.
It's funny you mention that. We've talked a lot about when we coach kids and women about those transferable skills from other sports. I've never thought of swimming as being one of those, but now you mention it, the arm and shoulder action makes perfect sense.
Yes, look forward to my documentary series. I run through all the sports and all the transferable skills, right down to table tennis. That was an off-cutter.
Or your new sporting entrepreneurial venture, what swimming can do for you.
Yes, ask not what swimming can do for you. You could end up playing international cricket for Finland.
Swimmers, we need you. She's coming off a shorter run now, interestingly.
I wonder if she's just done something here. She's banged it into the wicket, then worked around the corner. There's a terrible, terrible shy from the keeper at the bowler's end, which, you know, if the bowler is injured, it's now causing her to dive all over the place. She's not getting much help from her teammates if she has hurt herself.
I think she's just perhaps trying to get back a bit of control after a slew of wides here. It's not a bad thing to do.
She's still using her shoulder, so my guess is if there is an injury, it's a lower body injury. I know one of the girls was having problems with her glutes earlier today, which, you know, can be just the travel. There's a number of international cricketers who've fallen foul of having to sit on a plane for however many hours and then get off and play cricket the next day. It's tough. It's a big ask. It's not always that good for the body. The foam roller is a godsend, I can tell you. I have spent many, many hours on foam rollers, ironing out kinks in my hamstrings and my glutes and my back and my shoulders.
She's still bowling well with good pace and a bit more accuracy off the shorter runs, so maybe it is just that. But she's got a very sort of simple action. So
shows how strong she is through the shoulders, that she can still generate that pace off just a couple of steps.
Yeah, she follows through nicely. It's a really lovely action. Terrific bowling.
I think that was a wild celebration that the over was over. Thought for a second that maybe she'd nicked off the batsman, but no, I think she was just happy that it was over. It was a long one, 10 balls, but she got through it, Nguyen. So 1 for 10 so far off her 2, and I think she's going to go off the park.
Oh, she is going, yeah.
She is running off the park, however.
Well,
so
she's just taking up a position at deep mid-wicket. How's that?
Oh, well, then it's a total mystery what all that kerfluffle was about. She might be injured. Doesn't look like she is.
I think she's okay. We'll soon see if she comes back for a third.
One of the supporting staff running over to her now just to check on her and see if she's okay.
Chance.
Oh dear, the fielder got that just a little bit wrong. Came running in and overran it. In the end, the ball goes over her head, and
guess who's tidying up?
Norway are able to scamper through for 2. That should have been a wicket though. I can't quite see who that is. I think it was the batter of the day.
Van Harley, yeah. She just overran it a bit. He sort of came forward and didn't quite judge the height of the ball.
Slower ball, struck on the arm.
Well, they're not far away in terms of rate at this early stage of the innings, but they're not making most of these runs off the bat at the moment. Norway, they need to start putting the foot down a little bit. But these two openers have bowled extremely well, it has to be said, bar the wides.
Pace off delivery, nice change up.
Required rate, Norway, even at this early stage, is creeping up to around 8. So it's getting to become a big ask already.
Just defended into the leg side. Again, a little bit of indecision in the running between the wickets. Yes, Finland very, very vocal in the field. They know they're on top right now. Norway, they need to show some intent. Dug in and struck back down the ground. Again, some indecision between the wickets. Shy at the bowler's end, but they get through for the single. I think Norway, they had some trouble running between the wickets earlier today too. I think they could just run a bit harder between the stumps.
Yeah, and just having that mentality of just looking for the runs as well. You know, at the moment, it's neither one thing or the other. They're not really looking to attack the ball. They're not really looking for gaps in the field either. So it's a bit of an indecisive start by them. Nonetheless, after 5, they are 21 for 1.
Something that Denmark did really well against Norway earlier today. Norway set them a sort of difficult total to chase in the form of 69. And the openers for Denmark just came out and showed intent. You know, they hit the ball into the gaps, they ran with the shot, they tried to find the boundary, and right from the start of that innings, it showed what they wanted to do and how they wanted to play the game. And I just think here Norway are just digging themselves a little bit of a hole by trying to maintain their wickets when they really need to be rotating the strike at the very least.
Yeah, I think it goes two ways, doesn't it? You can come off the back of an innings when you've just been fielding and seen your opponents rack up a big score. and you feel like you don't have any momentum, a little bit down perhaps about your performance, and that might translate into how you approach it with the bat. By the same token, I often think when you are chasing a big total, you've almost got nothing to lose. You've just got to come out and swing from the hip to start with, see how it goes.
Good full ball. Beats her outside off.
The truth is, with this approach, you're going to get nowhere near.
Well, you've got to be able to break it down into smaller targets. You've got to be able to say, this is where I want to be on 20, this is where I want to be on 40. You know, push yourself up towards 80 or 90 and then reevaluate what you've got to do from there. This one's been tapped back around the corner to find leg. Good backing up from the Norwegians, so they easily come through for that single. But when you're chasing a big total like this, you know, you've got to at least set smaller totals along the way in order to give yourself something to aim for. Otherwise, you get stuck like this in a rut where you don't know whether or not to attack or defend. And
I think the other thing is as well, you work as partners, so you always set a role, especially if you've lost a wicket early on. You set a role for each of the partners. You say, okay, I'll be the one to be aggressive and I'll be the one to stay, for example. But at the moment, both these batters just look to be wanting to stay there, which is not really going anywhere.
This one's dug into the pitch and wide down the leg side. Yes, you can't just hope that Finland are going to bowl 60 wides. Although we've easily seen that many today between the two games.
Saying, you know, it might be a legitimate tactic when there are so many going around.
That's a wild one. Just wait to see what the umpire's got to say.
And you would think that they would just keep in touch with sort of comparative progress of the two, which is, there's nothing in it at the moment in terms of how the two teams were at their respective situations in the innings, with Norway 23 for 1.
Well, that last ball, despite being an absolute howler from the bowler, has been called a legitimate delivery. Neither umpire suggested that it was a no ball or a wide.
Well, hang on, why is he signalling?
That is the end of the power play.
Yes, I thought for a moment.
So that is a really strange end to that over from Nguyen, because that was an awful ball. And for the umpires to decide that it was legitimate.
I'm confused. I thought the over hadn't finished, and I was wondering why they'd all swapped over, because I just took it for granted that was an extra. Okay, we move on.
So we've got a new bowler coming in from the Brewery end.
Sister of the opening bowler, A. Kula. So a bit more of a measured approach.
Tapped away over the top of the offside, running out towards the boundary there. Chased with gusto by Intu.
That's more like it, Norway. They need a few more of those, but they're not the quickest between the wickets, these two. So they're going to have to find some boundaries soon, because they're running out of overs if they're not careful.
That's a wide ball from Ankankula. Sorry, Ankalkula. That one's tapped around the corner. Good piece of fielding on the edge of the ring.
Very good, until she let go of the ball.
That's right. Prevented any second run, that's what counts.
Very good.
Yeah, Ruan Patadirana fielding there.
I was saying earlier about this, the speed with which you get through your overs. I mean,
it's another wide.
Already into the 7th over here. Finland, despite the wides, have rattled through their overs. Seems like we've only just started, but you know, Norway are close to approaching the halfway point soon.
That one looked like it came out the back of the hand.
Did a bit of a leggy. This has gone miles in the air.
Who's called for it? No one. Oh, 4 fielders come running in And they are dancing around the maypole because not one of them touched that ball before it hit the deck. That's when you need a big, loud call,
Yeah,
someone to
shout.
say mine.
Too many cooks there, I'm afraid.
Again, that one looks like it come out the back of the hand. It's tapped into the offside and again doesn't go to hand. Well, it's a nice piece of bowling. If she's doing that on purpose, if those are coming out the back of the hand and she's landing them on the spot, that is a really nice piece of bowling.
Finland's mystery spinner. That's deliberate, all right, that is. That doesn't happen by accident. That was very nice. Taken by the keeper too.
There's a lot of chat out there in that fielding side. Yeah, that's out the back of the hand, all right. It's also off the deck. So that will count as a wide.
But if you just landed and you had no idea about the score and you looked at the sort of body language of the two teams, you'd know who were on top here, I think.
Top edge, and again, it's not going to go to hand. Shy at the bowler's end. Good piece of backing up to prevent any overthrows, but they do get through for another single.
Required rate up towards 8.5 now.
That's one thing that the Finns did really well when they were batting. They turned a lot of ones into twos, found the gaps, ran hard between the wickets. The Norwegians not so much so far. They've been able to put those singles into the scorebook, but not those twos.
Well, in Finland's innings, their 7th over, they scored 15 from it, and it really sort of gave a huge spur to their momentum at that stage in their innings. Norway haven't had a bad over there. They've just picked 9 off that one, but they are now a little way behind at the comparative rates. So they're really going to have to step up on things now as we've got a new bowler coming into the attack.
Yes, it's Ruan Pathirana bowling a left arm orthodox from the village end. I don't know how much turn she gets. Let's have a look. Oh, it's a lovely area. She's put it right on the button. Oh, the keeper failed to collect the ball there. So once again, another single.
That was 2 good deliveries to start with. If you just concentrate on getting through an over without any extras, that would be a huge bonus. Just to exert a little bit of control, add the initiative to the batting team.
Again, really good areas.
Very good. And nice to hear them calling as well out there. They're calling the end. They want the fielder to throw to. So they're on top of it, Finland, here in the field too. Good body language, good communication.
Yes.
Very impressive.
Fired in this time. High on the bat, but she got quite a bit of it. It's running down towards long on. It's going to pull up. Just looks like the outfield slowed a little with the sun coming off of it.
Yeah, she didn't get hold of that either, did she? Like you said, a little bit off the top of the bat, and it is very lush, as we've mentioned before, the outfield here.
Well, down this end, there's a lot of mushrooms growing.
There are.
Several different species. I don't suggest you try any of them, Richard.
I won't. I've got enough in my lawn at home, thank you.
Good areas again.
It's a good over this, really. Very impressive. Last ball of the over coming up, and so far blemish free.
Oh, that is out. Well, that's great reward for a very tight over. Ruan Pathirana has put it on the spot, and it's just been helped back to her by Amadi, the captain of Norway. Just got that a little high on the bat, trying to force the situation, trying to find those runs, trying to up the run rate. And she's just found the bowler, and she's not happy. Strikes her pads with the bat as she wanders off.
But what an over that was. Not an extra in it. She's taken a wicket. It was a sharp catch. I mean, you know, it came at a fair pace, but she bowled brilliantly. Like you mentioned, Jez, the area she was putting it in was excellent. There was control there, and they just felt they had to go for her or go after her. And the result is, after that pressure builds, they take a bit of a swipe at a ball that perhaps they shouldn't have done to, and they've lost a wicket. So terrific over, and Finland well on top, I would say now. Norway only 2 wickets down, but we're into the 8th over now.
Yes,
Sorry, 8 overs gone, apologise.
You can see Norway there falling well behind the rate. They're going to need something special from someone special.
Yeah, it's not curtains yet, but somebody has got to play an innings of the ilk of Van Harley's earlier, who made 69 off 64 deliveries, and this was the point she really started to accelerate as well.
She's got that out of the middle. It's flying off over the leg side, so she'll get another single, Suffy. And that'll bring the new batter onto strike. She was the best of the lineup in the first game against Denmark, Puya Kumari.
Yeah, she's an accomplished batter. She can hit it, that's for sure. As she waits now.
Good air. Yeah, she was really good at rotating the strike earlier. She stood out amongst the Norwegians as someone who could manipulate the gaps. Again, tossed up out the back of the hand. Kumari looking to work that into the leg side.
Yeah, just looked too wide of her, didn't too wide down the offside to be able to do that. So
yeah.
She was reaching for it.
It wasn't the right shot. There's plenty of gaps in the offside if she just wants to give it a little push. That's a wild one, and it'll be a wide.
Nine and over now, the required rate for Norway.
Tapped into the offside, and it'll be an easy one out to the cover sweeper. Bit of a fumble out there, but it's not going to cost them any.
Yeah, somebody's got to anchor this innings now. Somebody's got to go on and make 50 or 60 if they're going to get anywhere close.
Well, Suffy's been out there for 28 balls. You'd love to think that she could convert, given the amount of time that she's spent out in the middle.
Well, she's had enough time, yeah, like you say, 13 off 29 now, so a lot of time to see. She's seen off the 2 openers who bowled well for Finland. They've got to start targeting somebody soon.
It's going to be another wide. Tossed right up. That's a great bit of bowling.
It was very good. It was a teaser. It was one of those come and get me balls, but 2 minds. Mari then.
There's a lot of excitement and a lot of enjoyment in the Finnish outfield. The players sharing a lot of high fives, giving each other a lot of support, having fun. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, it's been wonderful to watch thus far. I'll expect another tidy over from the left arm going around the wicket now, number 22.
Yes, Ruan Patharana. She started so well in that last over. Picked up the wicket of the Norwegian captain. Starts with a dot here.
Yeah, I'd like to see her bowl all 4 through here now.
Just pushed into the offside, running with the shot. That's what they need to do. Show some impetus, show some intent.
I wouldn't mind having just the way she's tossing it up there. There's a few shots that have just sort of looped up in the air. I wouldn't mind having one of the fielders just pushed in nice and close. Try and take a catch rather than just all being back on the ring. It would be nice to have one just pushed in halfway, perhaps.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity there to have that attacking fielder in close on the offside, but
Somebody in the eye line as well.
yeah.
I always like that position, but here particularly when you've got a team on, you know, the foot on the throat, as it were.
So Ruan Pathirana, she's getting some really good drift into the batsman, but I'd love to see just a few more revs on the ball. Just a few more revs, a bit more drift. Something for her to work on in her spare time. Kumari knocks it into the leg side. There's a little bit of, well, it wasn't the best fielding we've seen today.
No, there was a definite attempt to kick that or to stop it with the foot, wasn't there?
Yes, it's the field at Tukurila that's shared with the football players, not this one out here at Gerova. That struck nicely into the leg side. That came out of the middle of the bat. Fielder runs around the boundary out there, but again, there's no intent to take a second.
Well, I just think they're a lot slower than we saw Unhale and when Kula, for example, were batting, or when Sheridan was out there batting. Much quicker between the wickets naturally. And that shows, it really did. But 10 overs, halfway point, 43 for 2. After 10 overs, Finland was 63 for 3. So Norway have it all to do. And that required rate now is almost 10. They're only 2 wickets down, but somebody's going to have to start taking some risks if they're going to get anywhere close to chasing down. I'm going to use the word mammoth total of 100 or 139 was the total, 140 the target, of course, that Finland set, with that 69 from Unhale, the feature of it earlier on. As players take a little drink out in the middle, and no doubt with the drinks will come a few messages, perhaps from the Norwegian dugout. You would expect, anyway.
Yes, well, this is the thing. The run rate is just not keeping up with the demand. You can see how keen the two different teams are. Finland have had their drinks. They're ready to go again. Norway still having theirs, taking all the time in the world. Have a rest and have a drink. But you can see how that worm has fallen away.
It's comatose, isn't it? It's sort of...
They had a very similar start, the two sides, but you know the difference was in Hale and how she was able to accelerate and score 9 boundaries on her way to a very accomplished 69.
Well, yeah, I mean, after 10 overs, Finland was 63, and they ended up with a total of 139. So they'd never lost momentum. From this point on, they were only accelerating.
This one's nudged away behind square on the offside for a single.
And while that's fine, that gets you a run. Nudges are not what the doctor ordered for Norway at the moment. But credit where credit is due. I think they've bowled very well, Finland, so far.
That one hit with one hand by Kamari, back behind square.
She was stretching so much for it, wasn't she? I think she just had to take a hand off the bat to get there. Bowled.
It's going to be wided.
Yeah,
so a judicious leave.
You could see he was getting some turn there, though, even from the angle we're sat at.
Yep, that's a nice line and length.
Again, rushing through the overs. I really like this. Just a high sense of energy out there.
The umpire indeed having to stop the bowler from running in just then. The batsman trying to run at their own tempo. Struck firmly over the leg side. Fielders running around the rope out there. Nguyen with a good arm fires it into the bowler.
Yeah, see, sorry, Jez, you know, there was only a single there. Finland would have taken 2 to those kind of shots in their innings.
Well, on that occasion, you'd argue that Safi actually hit it too well. Pretty much straight to the fielder out there, who does have a good cannon arm.
Yeah, and the point being that Norway didn't have a fielder out there for a lot of their innings either, so they were chasing the ball rather than coming in towards it.
She's gone for the same shot. It's a little top edge and it's going to fall in no man's land here on the leg side. Again, what we were talking about just last over, that all of the fielders are basically back on the edge of the inner ring.
Just nice to have one or two on either side, just pushed in, because they would have taken 2 or 3 catches by now. I just like it as a signal of intent as well.
Yes, especially when you're so far ahead of the game. I don't think there's any need to be quite that defensive.
49 for 2 then after 11. Required run rate over 10. And Ruan Patirana is going to continue into her 3rd over now. Right on the money to start.
A very vocal keeper.
That's for sure.
That's what you want from your wicketkeeper. Lots of energy, bit of a mouth, an appeal for a run out there, but safely home.
That is the general consensus, isn't it? But I've played with an awful lot of keepers where teammates ourselves have just told them to shut up a bit. You can be enthusiastic and vocal, and then you can go to the other extreme of never shutting up. I'm not suggesting that's what the case is here, but I have played with those that you do wish to put a sock in it sometimes.
It's the way you see the captain is the ringmaster, you know, putting everyone in their positions out there in the middle. But the wicketkeeper, they are the engine.
Now look, they've got a fielder pushed in. I'm glad to see that, just on the offside. Could even go closer, I reckon, for my mind. But
tapped into the offside,
good
running with the shot.
That's good. Just somebody halfway to the circle. Could get even a little closer, even push that mid off up a bit closer. Just say, look, go right over me. Because they haven't timed the ball particularly well.
It's a great piece of bowling. She snuck that one through. And once again, huge celebrations from the Finnish side. Safi's innings comes to an end. She couldn't quite find her timing out there this afternoon.
Yeah, she was a bit stuck in mud, wasn't she? A bit sort of walking through mud. She just didn't get going, struggling a little bit. And she's hung around, and who knows, she might have been able to accelerate from here. But that's done for a terrific over again. I think this from Ruan Patirana. She just put the ball on the spot, asked a few questions, and Norway haven't had any answers thus far. That's their 3rd wicket falls. They are over 50 now, but that run rate's up to 11.
Yes, I thought as Safi went along, she was improving. She was starting to find some form. Hopefully she can convert that across the rest of this tournament. But that was a really, really good ball, which just kept on coming in. Just kept on coming in, and then under the bat and into the leg stump.
Yeah, so a new batter to the crease, and Pooja Ramani's not been there too long either, so fairly fresh batters out there. But that intent is good at the start. From the new batter, who's Gorad.
Yes, one of the players I don't think played in the game earlier today. But she was the keeper. The two keepers there having a word to each other as she takes strike. Certainly had a strong handshake when I shook her hand earlier today. Nearly ripped my arm off and threw it to the Gators.
Well, the gulf in the comparison now is widening. 80 for 3 Finland were after 12.
There's a real intent being shown here.
Well, she has to. There's nothing else to do, really. You'd like to see them go down with all guns blazing at least.
That's tossed right up. An awkward one. No, I do love the energy from the keeper, but there's no point appealing to the ones that go down the leg side.
And why not?
You don't want the umpire thinking you forgot your glasses.
Well, we had the one mystifying decision for the court behind, didn't we? So I suppose it's worth a go. If you ask, you don't get. And all that. Kamari on face, she's 6 off 14.
Oh, that's tossed right up, but down the leg side. That'll be another wide. Just tapped on its head out to point, and they run with the shot through for another single. It's not what Norway need, though. They need to find the boundary, and they need to find it soon.
Well, have we had a boundary in this innings? I'm struggling to remember one. And we're into the 13th over. I can't remember one.
Well, I get the feeling that Gorad, she's come out here looking strong, and she just wants one in her wheelhouse.
Well, you need something to kickstart it, don't you?
She's quite happy to leave these wides down the leg side now.
Well, quite rightly, well, that's given no ball, because I think that's gone off the mat.
Well,
but again, you know, that you have to say that, okay,
in that case,
doesn't help, does it, with your wides? It just doesn't get you into a rhythm.
No, but this is a free hit. This could be what kickstarts it. She struck it into the gap, so they will get through for a single at the very least.
Yeah, still good noise from the Finnish players. Slightly darker overhead, but no threat of rain.
Yeah, the sunglasses are coming off.
As we approach autumn here in Finland. That's called a dead ball again. What was the issue there?
Yes, there was some very menacing weather hanging around the park during the first game of the day. We had huge thunderclaps taking place on a regular basis. It was a miracle that it didn't rain.
Well, I was in Vantaa earlier today at lunchtime, not a million miles from Tikkurila, and got caught in the most almighty downpour. I think Kerava just missed all that.
Well, this is going to be a very long over as well. So far, we're waiting to finish it. We just need one more legitimate delivery, I think.
Yeah, 27 she's gone for.
She defends that one.
Just happy to get the over finished with, I think.
It's the end of the over. Her teammates celebrated a little too hard, I think.
She's done though. Kula, 27. She went for off her 4 overs. Most of those extras.
Yes, when she got it right, she looked
She really
near to
did.
unplayable.
Yeah, she did. But you know, it's tough. A lot of these guys have not bowled this much in matches at all, and some of them, like Gulal, are young. So this is a huge learning experience. Just understanding what it takes to bowl in an international match. And what it takes out of you. You've got to be on the money all the time. And of course, the more wides you bowl, the more balls you bowl, which becomes even more tiring as we have another change of bowling.
Yes, coming in from the village end, Tavayo Garaja. Struck well into the leg side. Shy at the bowler's end. Oh, it would have been out if she hit.
It would, but it's a good run to take. She hit it well and she hit it firm. But she immediately decided, right, there's a run here. Gorad's got a bit of energy out there and a little bit of intent, which is good for Norway.
I think the fielder didn't realise how much time she had to have that shy either. This one struck to the exact same fielder. This time they don't run.
Run rate exactly required. Run rate exactly 12 now. for Norway from here on in. It's a good shot.
That one hit behind square.
They should pick up 2.
Being chased by Kula out there.
Only taking 1.
Yeah, Kumari doesn't look like she's interested in the 2s.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 2 all day long, but I guess if you feel that you can't manage it, you don't take the risk. But they need someone perhaps with a bit of Gorad's energy between the wickets out there.
Maybe she's trying to feed Gorad the strike.
Quite possibly that as well.
She feels like she's the bigger hitter and the one who can find the rope. W Garaja again here.
Shot.
Struck firmly, straight to point, running with the shot, and then we'll get through for another single.
She's certainly looks impressive so far, Gorad. Good energy. She's striking the ball well and running well.
This sort of strike rotation is what was really missing from Norway's innings earlier today. You know, they could have been, you know, up closer to that 90 mark right now and within striking distance.
Yeah, it does make a big difference, the singles you take, particularly if you're not scoring boundaries, as Norway aren't.
A little bit of bat on that one. And
tidy over though.
yeah, it took me by surprise.
Very tough, but they're getting through it, which is really good.
Well, this is the thing, that over featured absolutely no extras whatsoever. And we've had some long overs today with a few too many wides and no balls. But an over like that, where it's just 6 balls and no extras, it really snuck up on me.
Yeah, 6 good balls as well. Nice, really tidy over that was. I'm going to take the cap off here. I think there's going to be an interruption because you're going to run in with a cap. But
I mean, they don't have to take the cap off, but
it's usually a case of them forgetting.
bottom edge down round the corner, and that'll be another single. Now she's taking the cap off. Definitely a mistake on her part.
Well, you just don't want to risk it if it comes off, and you end up giving another extra away.
Well, you do see a lot of players, especially the women, keep the cap on when they're bowling, just because they run their ponytails back through the back of it and what have you. I donated my hair last year, so my hair got exceedingly long during last year's cricket season, and while I had one of those fancy headbands to keep my hair off my face while I was bowling, in the end it wasn't up to the task, and I had to start wearing a cap backwards. Just no choice in the end.
How do you donate hair, and who to?
Well, I grow a pretty good head of hair, so, and it hasn't turned grey yet. So you grow it to at least 12 inches, and then you have it cut off, and they make it into a wig for cancer kids.
Very good.
That's a wide one, outside off. There's a big appeal, and she's been given. Well, look at that celebration from the keeper. Oh, well, they're cock-a-hoop. There was a little sound. I personally thought she hit the turf. She'll be disappointed because it was so very wide.
Very. If she'd left it alone, it would have been called, I think. That's the 4th wicket gone. I think it's curtains.
Well, that was
for Norway now.
That was a sprightly innings from Gorad. I think we'll see more of what she's capable of during this tournament as the Finnish wicketkeeper continues to celebrate.
So we have another Kumari to join Kumari, who's 10 off 19. So I need a few boundary clearers. Oops.
That one is worked away into the leg side, and while there was a mix-up in the running, the throw didn't go to the correct end.
Not so much a mix-up in the running as one came hurtling out the blocks and the other one just ignored her.
This one struck back down the ground, and Kumari turns her partner down.
It's a very colourful bat she's come out with there.
I think it's the gloves she's got on, is it? Green gloves.
Yeah, dark blue or something.
I picked up a pair of specialty gloves myself a couple of seasons ago. They were exactly the same as the one Alistair Cook uses, except they were made from offcuts. And I did get a bit of stick for wearing them out on the park. Nothing wrong with them though. Great pair of gloves.
Did they make you bat like Alistair Cook?
No, I bat nothing like Alistair Cook.
You do surprise me.
In fact, my batting has taken a horrendous downturn over the course of the last couple of seasons, so perhaps those new gloves are actually cursed. There's always that risk.
Well, he famously only had about 4 shots, so maybe you ought to take a leaf out of his book and just trim the bag, as it were.
Mulipati bowling some good line and length here, not giving the batsman too many options.
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of wides. We've had some very good overs as well, where there've been very few.
Well, that's the thing. We've had no extras in the last couple of overs, and suddenly the overs are ticking away and the score's going nowhere. So that's a good shot. Good piece of fielding out on the edge of the ring.
It was a good shot, but again, they've just found the fielders all the time and not had quite enough oomph behind the shots to find the boundary, for which we're still waiting one. It's been a sticky innings, this, for Norway.
Lets that go, and that's the first wide we've had in 2 or 3 overs. Another good length delivery.
Yeah, back on it again. Very good stuff. Just rattling through the balls as well. The pressure's really on. No time to think for Norway.
That one struck well into the leg side, but again, it's going to be cut off. Just the one.
Just the one again.
That's a floater. I don't think she got any bat on it. I think that came off the pads.
I think so.
Just watch the umpire here. No, he's given it his runs.
Okay.
But that is the end of a pretty tidy over. And Finland really hustling through these overs now. Without all these extras, time is just escaping Norway.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking back through the over-by-over scores. I think probably the most that Norway have scored in a single over has been 8, and most of those were extras. So they've just really struggled to get into the rhythm with the bat and to score big runs off the bat. Certainly the lack of boundaries is a big difference between the two sides. But Finland have bowled well. The wides aside, there have been some very tidy stuff.
I thought it was a bit rough taking Thavayogaraja out of the attack,
Well,
but
yeah.
they've swapped her around to the brewery end.
I was thinking that myself, but yeah. Oh, she's in with a chance. No, over her head.
See, the problem there is she left the hat on, and there's a big mix-up between the wickets. They've had a shy at the wrong end, and they've really missed an opportunity to run out Kumari there.
Which one? Yeah.
Well, it was Puya Kumari who didn't want the single at all, and her partner basically ran down the other end, shook her hand, gave her a pat on the back and said,
Off you pop.
get down there. So now she's facing.
That's a good ball again.
Yeah, some good pace on. Worked into the leg side by Kumari, who might be struggling a little bit there. Maybe a hamstring or a calf. Good pace through to the keeper.
Yeah, there have been some terrific balls bowled by Finland in this innings. An awful lot to work on. When you've got a big total to defend, it really helps as well with your confidence. But nonetheless, they could have eased off thinking they were home and hosed before Norway had started their reply.
Once again,
Oh,
a really horrible mix-up between the batters and some worse fielding.
Yeah, horrible is a word I'd give to the fielding as well there.
Well,
at least 2 chances to run them out.
Well, it was in Hale, and she's going to take home the player of the match, so we'll forgive her. But that second shot at the stumps from point-blank range was a shocker.
I think she could have walked it in.
Yeah, never mind. And then you have Thavio Garaja just losing her run-up. It's all a bit exciting out there at the moment. One of the crazy things here is she's not going to get to bowl out her spell, I don't think. Again, worked into the leg side, straight to square leg. They're running with the shot, shy at the stumps, but they make it easily.
So they've got power to add, really, Finland. So, I mean, she's bowled as well as anybody, and she's not going to bowl out her spell. But you would hope they would bowl her 4 overs in games for the rest of the weekend.
Well, she's not bowled any extras.
A fair bit of swing, I think, there as well.
Well, the ball hasn't taken much tap, so I imagine it's still near to new.
It's in good shape. There's another over ticks by, 17 gone, just 3 left. Norway a long way from home.
Yes, they've scored more than they did earlier today. They'll be happy with that, but I'm sure they'd have wanted to at least reach 3 figures in this game. It's going to be Molipati to continue. She wants to charge in, but the batter taking their time, waiting for the field.
Catching their breath, I think.
Well, I think there might be some, I don't want to say tomfoolery, but there's some sportsmanship being shown by Nguyen out on the edge of the ring, I think. She's into it, she's enthusiastic. Tries to work that round the corner, but it's going to be a wide.
Fantastic appeal from the boundary there for LBW.
Once again,
the bowler wasn't interested in the slightest.
There's a lot of enthusiasm being shown by the Finnish field.
Oh, good ball.
They are right up for this.
Well, as you would, you've got to enjoy it. You put on a terrific batting performance and back it up with a good show in the field. You're entitled to be excited out there. This is a big moment for Finnish women's cricket.
Well, they had a tough morning. They got trounced by Sweden, who then went on to trounce Denmark. So a really big day for Sweden. But it's always nice to turn the way you feel in the morning around with a game in the afternoon where you play a lot better and put a W in the win column.
Yeah, and 4 more matches tomorrow. 2 here at Kerava and 2 at Tikkurila. Oh, look, the batter's come halfway down the pitch and the non-striker has just turned her back. I said, I'm not having any of that, so that's a bit a bit poor. But yeah, tomorrow, so we've got Sweden and Denmark in action again against each other. This time here at Kerava, so Denmark will be looking for a little bit of revenge after being trounced, bowled out for 35 earlier. Then Estonia make their first appearance. They'll be playing Norway at Tikkurila, then Finland, Estonia here at Kerava in the afternoon, and Sweden, Norway at Tikkurila in the afternoon tomorrow. 4 more to come on Sunday as well. Including Finland, Estonia at Tikkurila, and Finland against Denmark, the final game here at Kerava on Sunday afternoon. That will be interesting if Finland can take some of their confidence from today into that one.
Yes, well, having watched both Finland and Denmark go about their business today, I actually think that could be a really good game.
So some interesting use of feet out in the field again there. They've actually pushed through for 2, Norway there.
Struck.
Oh, this could be a run out now. Oh, wrong end again.
It's one of those moments where you've got to just stay in the moment, stay calm. You know, I think
Take a moment to look before you throw is
well,
the key often.
you've got to do things one at a time. You've got to catch the ball before you can make the run out. So
Another good over this. She bowled very well. 10 gone from 2 overs and 2 balls so far.
tapped into the offside, straight to the fielder. And I'd say she's been run out there, and she has.
She was struggling a bit, wasn't she, to get back?
I do wonder if she's carrying an injury as well. But
So
it was struck straight to the fielder. They've run the risk a few times. They've had a few mix-ups. And eventually it ended in a run out. Not a huge surprise, but disappointing for Norway.
yeah, they've not really got into their stride, have they, Norway? They fall some way short here, so plenty for them to think about as we await the new batter.
Yes, I think Kumari top scoring for Norway once again with 18. Just trying to see who the new batter is.
I think off 27 deliveries, that tells its own story. They've just not managed to get into a real rhythm. No batter has really dominated in the same way that Harley dominated for Finland when they batted.
She really was the difference between the two sides today.
Absolutely.
Must be a little bit cooler this evening. The batter's come out in a sweatshirt. Short one, dabbed into the offside, and they run through for a single. So it looks like it's Misbah Ifzal who's come out to bat.
Straight off the mark. Bowled.
Again, a lot of hooping and hollering from the Finnish outfield, even for a dot ball like that. They're right behind their bowler.
Yeah, they know they've got this game wrapped up now. They've got to go away and think about what they've done well today and take that with them for the rest of the Nordic Cup this weekend.
Banged into the pitch, and that'll be a wide. First one from W. Goraja.
Yeah, she looked like she was just trying to give it a grunt ball there. And perhaps overexerting herself just a little bit.
Don't blame her for trying to bend her back, though. fire it in.
Well, now's the time to try things as a bowler. Just get yourself in a rhythm. You've got nothing to lose. If you want to try a few different deliveries, quicker, slower, cutters, whatever you like. That one she does give a little air to.
Yorker in the end.
To end the over too. So 19 gone.
So she won't get to bowl out her full quota, but a really, really good spell from Thaba Yogarija.
Very good.
3 overs, 12 runs, just that one extra.
No, terrific.
Very tidy.
And you'd hope in the coming games that she'll bowl a full allotment of 4 overs. But as it stands now, in the situation in this game, Norway just need 60 runs off an over.
Well, Nguyen, she's going to come in and continue to bowl off this shorter run-up. Whacks it into the deck. Playing a miss from Afzal. She's been very, very active throughout this innings in the outfield. Very vocal. Almost badgering the Norwegians. That one has gone through the keeper, running down towards the boundary. It's been cut off, but it's going to be a bye, I'm pretty sure. Just wait to see the umpire. It's a bye.
Yeah, it's just missed entirely by the keeper. Bit of extra pace.
I thought it was going to run into the helmet for a second.
Yeah, extra 5 runs. Not enough to make a difference though for Norway.
That one is in the air, on the bounce to point. Shy at the stumps. Again, the keeper can't quite collect it and they get through for a single. That's a tricky one though, especially when you play on an artificial surface. The ball comes flying into the keeper and it can catch the edge of the pitch.
Yeah.
And bounce up in all sorts of nasty ways. I've seen keepers who wear the full face guard for the entirety of the innings when they get to play on pitches like this, just for that very reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. So a couple of deliveries remaining.
Again, banged into the deck and worked around the corner behind square. Being chased out there by Kula. They're trying to turn for 2. There was 2 there. Kamari turned down Afzal.
Do we think this is a boundaryless innings?
If it is, it's one of the highest scores I've seen without a boundary.
Because I can't remember one. I really can't. My memory's not the greatest, but it's quite extraordinary to have no boundaries. Here we go.
Struck into the offside and dropped. Oh, goodness gracious me. A few hands went up in the air, but they're celebrating now.
Well,
that's
if
a
missed
victory.
It would have gone for a boundary.
That's a victory for Finland. Your player of the match was the one to drop that last one. Doesn't matter in the end. She did everything right throughout that batting innings. Scored 69 from 64 balls, hit 9 boundaries of her own. And what that means now is that Finland can celebrate this victory over Norway.
Yeah, that will give Finnish women's cricket as a whole, not just the team out there, a terrific boost. They really did play exceptionally well. They were carried, of course, by the terrific batting of Divija and Harley, but she led the way and she got amply supported. And there was plenty of promise shown by some of the bowlers as well in the field. There was some terrific overs bowled. I think, you know, as better or as good as any of those bowled by the Norwegians in the first innings. And all in all, a marvellous performance from Finland, one they can be exceptionally proud of. And I think they're going to celebrate long into the evening. Hopefully not too long, because they've got 2 more matches tomorrow and 2 on Sunday, and this gets tiring. But for now, they should quite rightly celebrate with the gusto that they're showing over by the dugouts there, because a terrific win. With a 56-run difference between the 2 sides in the end. So Finland off the mark for the Nordic Cup this weekend.
Yes, there's the card for the Norwegians. You can see a couple of starts there, but as they were unable to find the rope, they were just always behind on the rate, and those boundaries struck by Uhali were really the difference on the day. So there's the summary for the game. Unhali, undoubtedly your player of the match. Her 69 was absolutely fantastic. Take nothing away from how the Norwegians bowled though, especially the likes of Agrawal. Bowled really, really well. Norway, they had some starts with the bat. A really wonderful bowling performance from Ruan Parathana. Two wickets for her. Says she only bowled 3 overs there. I'm sure that's not right.
Well, they were all good overs. Everyone contributed. There were some wides, and others will go away and work on that. But in between those, for those that were bowling wides, in between there were plenty of very good and encouraging deliveries from them as a whole. But you know, a couple of the finish, 2 or 3 of the Finnish bowling attacks stood out for just the amount of extras they didn't concede and the accuracy with which they bowled. Not quite the wickets they would have hoped for necessarily, but they did the job in keeping the run rate down. And as you say, player of the match, Unhali, scoring just 15 runs fewer than Norway made as a total. So clearly the difference. But I think even without 69 or so, Finland were probably certainly were the better side today, and perhaps would have shaded it even without a 50 from Unhali. But very encouraging for them. Terrific.
Yes, so hats off to Ruan Pathirana with her bowling. The Kula sisters, Nguyen, and of course Tavayo Garaja. They all bowled really, really well. But your standout with the bat, Unhali. Well, that is the end of today's play. A win for Denmark this morning over Norway. A win over Norway for Finland this afternoon. A win over Finland this morning for Sweden, and a win for Sweden over Denmark this afternoon as well. That leaves Sweden sitting pretty at the top of the table and with a tremendous net run rate. You've seen one that high before.
Goodness me. Squinting. Is that an error? Wow, well that comes from their thumping of Denmark, doesn't it? Bowling them out for 35 and getting home.
Wow, they thumped Finland and Denmark, in fairness.
Yeah.
Sweden, I can't wait to see them in action, because that looks like an exciting cricket team.
Yeah, and that table not showing Estonia, who will enter the fray tomorrow. They aren't playing any matches today, but we'll have 4 games over the weekend, including a match against Finland here on Sunday.
Yes, so if you're watching this stream from home and happen to be in and around the Helsinki area, you're most welcome to come down to either of the grounds, either in Gerva or Tikkurila. It's free to get in and cheer on your local team, because they've just played a blinder against Norway and wrapped up a really good win. Well, on behalf of Richard and myself, Jez Brown, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.